What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Rock Fantasy Files here on YouTube. Look who's hosting again. I'm back. My name is James. You guys know me, bass player from Crucial Pain and clerk from Disc and Dat Record Store in Bethel, Connecticut. We have a very special show for you guys tonight. It's about to mark 15 years since the legend Ronnie James Dio passed away. So Count Ralphus and I clanged our dumb heads together and decided to put together a show where we just kind of have a tribute to Dio. It's going to be a roundtable style thing where we just sit and talk about the man. If you've seen him live, if you met him, if you bought a Dio album that changed your life, we want to hear your stories. There's going to be lots of people popping in and out during the show, so don't get too freaked out about that. Our special guest right now, we're going to kick things off with Mr. Tracy G. Tracy played guitar for Dio for 6 years. He was, of course, on the Strange Highway album and the Angry Machines album. We got Ovi here from Norway. We've got Tony Dio here from North Carolina. Count Ralphus, our heavy metal historian. We got Billy, the drummer from Lady Evil, which is a killer Dio tribute band. We got our buddy Christian from Connecticut. And it looks like Ed Farshty has joined us, but his video is off at the moment. So, all that being said, let's talk to Tracy G because he's busy. He's got to bounce. What's going on, dude? Thank you for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
I guess my first question is how did you and Dio find each other? How did you get into the band?
Um, okay, 1992, 1993, right around there. I think it was early 90. Well, let's go back to 90, 91, 92. I was in a band called World War III, and World War III's rhythm section was Vinny and Jimmy Bain.
Oh, nice.
So that's Dio's rhythm section, right?
Right.
His original.
This album. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew Tony Dio would have that.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say it, and I started looking for it. Where is it at?
Well, it ties into me getting the gig, I think, because in a odd way. But so the story is, once I got the gig, I'll explain how I got it in a second. But once I got it, Vinny said, "Oh yeah, I when we were looking for a guitar player, I let Ronnie hear that album. Well, he should listen to this album." And he wasn't a big fan of it. Vinny says he hated the singer, and he thought the guitar playing was too noisy and industrial, he called it, and not like anything he had before. The guitar players he had in the 80s, Vivian Campbell, Craig Bowley, maybe Rowan, whoever he had in the 80s, was nothing like that. So he didn't gravitate to it. This is what Vinny said. But eventually Vinny called me and said, "Will you come down and audition? Ronnie wants you to audition." So that's how I got the audition. And I saw in the newspaper a month or two before that Dio was starting Dio again, and he has his original guys as far as Vinny and Jimmy Bain, but they need a new guitar player. I thought, oh wow, what a gig to have. And but then I thought, am I supposed to call and kiss ass? And am I supposed to call and say, "Remember me"? Because Vinny and Jimmy, I did a tour through the whole United States and an album which was World War III, in 91. So I knew they knew me. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to call and say, "Do you remember me?" I feel like an idiot. Hey, remember me? If it's meant to be and I did anything worth a shit, then they'll call me. You know, they'll put in the good word, whatever.
Yeah.
If it's supposed to be, it'll be. That's the way I am. You know. So then I finally did get a call from Vinny saying, "Come on down." So I was pretty excited about that, and there I go. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, "But am I going to win the lottery? Am I going to win the lottery? I mean, no. No, you don't win the lottery. You know, who wins the lottery? Not me." And to me, getting a gig like that is like the musical lottery. It would have been. I mean, that would have been it for me. You know, I mean, as far as you can't really get any higher up as far as the musicians, the quality of musicians, and as being a guitar player my whole life, always had problems with finding a lead singer, anybody that had any kind of voice. And I would have a chance to play with like one of the world's greatest voices. So I just didn't think it was going to happen. But you know, what a chance to audition anyway. That was my thought. So there I go. Sat up. Ronnie's sitting in the corner. Played. No deal stuff. Just jam. And Dio's in the corner. And the thing is I'm playing with my ex-band, Vinny Appice and Jimmy Bain. I already did an album. I already did a tour. When we jammed, it already sounded like a band. Probably, if I'm all, to be perfectly honest, it probably sounded heavier than anything Dio had already done. That's the way I looked at it, and that's the way I heard it. And I loved everything Dio's done, all the way from Man on the Silver Mountain, Richie Blackmore, of course, anything Sabbath. I liked that better because it was heavier. But I learned from Tony Iommi, and I thought I could do some heavier stuff than he did with Dio. Give me a chance at it. You know, let me. You know, that's what I'm thinking in my head. But I'm thinking, yeah, right. So I do my thing. Okay, bye, thanks, man. And they don't say anything. They do the quiet thing. And bye, Tracy. We'll call you. So a month goes by. I don't hear nothing. And I didn't think I'm going to hear anything because that's the way it goes, right?
Right.
All of a sudden, ding-a-ling-a-ling, Tracy, he wants you to come back. I'm like, oh, wow. I got a little bit more excited. There I go. I live about 45 minutes from Van Nuys in LA. So
the bottom numbers. Okay. The top numbers is the meeting ID. The bottom numbers are the pass.
Correct.
Is that Mark talking? You're kind of interrupting Tracy G at the moment.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Lisa's trying to log on and she's
all right. I'm
screaming.
Just hit your mute.
Should I keep going?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. I didn't know what that was. Where was I? Oh, come on down. Come on back for a second audition. So I go back and again, set up, play. No Dio songs, no soloing, just riffs. And when I would play a riff and Vinny would join in and Jimmy Bain would join in, it already sounded like a song because of what we'd already done, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Ronnie heard that. So Ronnie got on the microphone and he started jamming with us, which made me even more excited because there's that voice, right?
Of course.
Yeah. And then that ended, and then they didn't say much to me again. And I said to myself, I was kind of like on the quiet side, the shy side. I'm not real outspoken, so I didn't say anything. And I said to myself, I better say something this time because, it might be my last chance of coming down here. So I caught him in the hallway, and I told Ronnie, I go, I just wanted to tell you something, you have your choice of pretty much any guitar player in the world. Who's not going to play with you? I mean, any rock guitar player is going to say no. And they tried really known guitar players before me, but that didn't work. They talked to Yngwie, they talked to Neil Sean, they talked to Michael
Wow.
Schenker, they talked to Michael, all these known guys, already big known guys, and but none of that worked out. So they ended up searching for someone a little bit more unknown, than Neil Sean or whatever. So too much ego involved, they said at one time. So I told him in the hallway, I said, I know you could pick anybody you want, and I'm sure it'll be great, but I'm here to say, if I get the gig, I believe in my, in my gut, in my heart, that I could make with you and with us, because I've already played with Jimmy Bain and Vinny, and I know how they play. I go, we could make the heaviest, one of the heaviest Dio records ever. I told him, and I felt good about telling him that because I wanted to, and whether it was going to help or not, I don't know. So, and he started giggling, and he goes, well, we're signed with Warner Brothers right now, and Warner Brothers has a list of guitar players for us to try out, and you're on that list, which blew me away. I was like, I am? Wow. Well, see you later. I'll talk to you. Hope to talk to you later. In 3 days, Vinny called me back and said, go tell your dad you're Ronnie's guitar player now, And I was like,
Wow.
wow. I go, is this your idea or Ronnie's idea? Wait a minute, because I was kind of friends with Jimmy Bain and Vinny already, I knew that. And he goes, no, well, it's Ronnie's band. It's his choice. It's his thing. I go, wow. So the first meeting is blah, 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 So that's how I met him, and that's how I got in the band. And for some reason, he, I don't know, like he could pick any guitar player he wants. I didn't even solo for him or play any Dio song. It was like he was looking for someone. I think he was in the mood in those days right there to try something a little different. And he wanted somebody that could write for him. He needed a writer, not just a shredder, a guy that, is faster than Yngwie or whatever. Hey, no, that's not even me. So I got the gig, and then we started rehearsing, and it turned out to be Strange Highway, that album.
Okay, that was going to bring me to my next question is I've always heard rumors that Strange Highways, that a lot of that stuff was written by Ronnie while he was still in Black Sabbath with the intention of him showing that to Tony to be the album after Dehumanizer.
They tell me that too, because I've heard that too. I get emails and this and that. No, everything that's on Strange Highways came from, 90% of it came from guitar-oriented riffs. Heavy metal is a guitar motivated music.
Right.
Ronnie could write. Ronnie could play guitar a little bit. Ronnie could play bass a little bit. Yeah, but he hired me to do what I do, and I just sit there and play riffs, and that's what I do. That's what I've always done. And so I love Dehumanizer a lot, and a lot of people think a lot of these songs are left over from that album, and none of them were. I'm a big fan of that, totally.
It's a dark album, and Strange Highways kind of continued that.
Yeah, it was.
Agreed.
I thought it was one of the best Dio records before Strange Highways. That one, I like that better than all the Dio records. I like the Sabbath, Heaven and Hell, yeah, but Dehumanizer's that was one of my favorite ones. It was heavier, so I could see why people would think that. But
yeah,
in those days, at that time, we didn't have the whole internet. Was just the internet. And all this, the way people record now in home studios, it really wasn't here yet. It was coming. It was like 91, 92, 93, whatever it was. And so I went down there in a room with the other guys, we were just old school, like jamming. For real, jamming. There was no tapes handed out. I didn't write any of those things. Well, 90% of the riffs I played for him, I had already had the riffs. Some of them came from World War III, and that was gonna be my story. I was gonna tell you about a story that I had for Ronnie. Is the way we practiced was like the way I grew up, like 3 or 4 other guys in the room at the same time.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we make records and don't even see the guys because, it's just the way it is.
Right. Yeah, you
Back
could be
then.
across the country.
No. Then it was like, for instance, is any of you guys familiar with the album Strange Highways? Any of the songs on Strange Highways?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. There's a song called Pain. Pain wasn't the first song written, but it was one of the first songs written. So it's Jimmy Bain, and this is just one of those stories you asked me to tell.
Yes.
Bain, Vinny Appice, me, and Ronnie. That's all it was in the beginning. So I had already demoed that riff. I made a song out of it in World War III. And it was called something else, and the vocals were something else. It had nothing to do with Pain, had nothing to do with the lyric. That's all Ronnie. But the main riff of Pain, the main riff, I just started playing that for Vinny and Jimmy, and they jumped on it. And when they jump on something, it's it.
Exactly.
It's like a fucking big giant dinosaur. It's just like perfect in my mind.
Super heavy.
Super heavy, and feels super good to play live. Like you can really get under it and get in it. At least I could. And so it was one of my favorite riffs, even way back then. And so I played it for them. Ronnie goes, "Ooh, I like that, man." So play this a couple more times. So we spent a couple days arranging something into a song out of that main riff, a couple of those other parts. But something happened between Jimmy Bain and Ronnie, and one day when I went to practice, there was no more Jimmy Bain. He was gone. I didn't ask too many questions because it's none of my business. I mean, I'm not part of the business thing. It was like, what
Don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some kind of money situation thing or whatever. Okay, well, what are we going to do now? Because we're going to find a new bass player, but since we don't have one and we're at practice, Ronnie's all, "Give me that bass," So Ronnie played bass for a couple of days, and I showed him Pain, what we had of the song. So Ronnie would play bass with Vinny and me, and it was just us three, like a little 3-piece. No singing yet. We got an arrangement down for that song, and then I taped it on a little ghetto blaster, we called them in those days, right? Little stupid little cassette thing. And Ronnie took it home with him to write lyrics at home. Comes back the next day and says, I got something. By this time, though, I think somebody's calling.
No, I guess they're messing with their system or whatever. You can keep going, brother.
By this time, Jeff Pilson's our bass player now.
Right.
Jimmy's gone. We have a bass player. Ronnie played but now, Ronnie's like, "We need a bass player. Let's go ask Jeff Pilson not to be in the band and see if he knows a bunch of people. Maybe he'll, be able to turn us onto a bass player." So they leave. Ronnie and Vinny go to Jeff's house. It's not too far from where we're practicing. I'm sitting there practicing. They come back with Jeff. Jeff said, "Hi, I'm your new bass player." What? And I'm a fan of Jeff Pilson like anybody else. Everything he's done. Talented, great bass player, whatever. Sings great. Okay, plugs in. I show him the song.
Yeah.
Should I keep going?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
keep going.
keep on going.
Okay, I'm sorry. Because that green phone keeps coming on. I don't know if that means it'll stop or not.
Anybody not talking, mute yourself. Try to mute yourself.
So now Jeff's there. So I showed Jeff this riff we're working on. Jeff picks it up right away. Jeff's like a chameleon. Jeff had never really played anything that heavy, not that I know of in Dawkins or anything else, but he's a chameleon and he could really play anything. He can adapt. He can adapt to like whatever. So he jumped on. Real talented guy.
Absolutely.
He jumped on it, had a couple ideas himself. So we get another decent recording of it on the little cassette thing. Next day, Ronnie takes that home and comes back and goes, I think I have an idea vocally for that song. What are you going to call it? I say. I got a working title called Pain. Well, that's it.
There you go.
That's the best title I could think of because that's how I feel when I'm playing that riff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
For me, music has to make people feel something. It has to make an emotion or angry or happy or whatever you want to do. In that case, in that riff, it's like a fuck you riff to me. It's like, that's how I feel when I'm playing. I'm like, whatever people's ever said negatively, nothing matters anymore. That's how I feel when I'm playing. Not every riff, but that particular one's like a double fuck you, And he's going to call it Pain. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to hear this. So I go, how should we start it? Should I just start playing He goes, I got an idea. Just play an F sharp. Just everybody, like you're ending the song. Blah, one chord. And then he yells out, you know the way the song goes. He yells out what he yells out. Then we go to another chord. We just talked it out right there. And then just come into the riff, Tracy, and let Tracy play the riff a couple times. And, Ronnie kind of arranged it. That's what he did with everything. Because he heard it in his head how he wanted it. And once, we did that, and then he started singing the first verse, da 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 da. Kind of a Zeppelin-y kind of riff there to me because it's got a big hole in it. Ronnie starts to sing with that voice, and we're not even done with the first verse. I stop, and they're like, "What's wrong? What did you stop for?" I go, "That's the greatest thing I ever heard." I go, "I'm sorry, I wasn't used to, I wasn't used to hearing someone like that sing on a riff I had already for a couple of years, if you know what I mean."
Yeah, surreal moment.
I mean, that voice isn't just that voice. That voice isn't just a voice. It's the voice.
That's right.
If you guys know what I mean. And there I am, not only in his band, but helping him write to my riff with Vinny Appice. I mean, I had to stop. And I go, Ronnie? And he goes, what? I go, I just want to hit you in the face right now. and I didn't really mean that, but I didn't know how else to express it, saying, oh my God, don't you understand what it is? It's beyond magic, you know what I mean? It was beyond, like, to me, to hear a song being put together like that. And I wasn't used to writing with him yet and hearing him sing to anything that whatever. So that's the little story that sticks out to me the most. There's tons of things that happened while I was with him, but that one means a lot because writing music with him and the other guys, and I didn't write everything, we all wrote everything.
Right.
But the guitar plays a big part in, a one guitar band, and he's always been. Richie Blackmore, Tony Iommi, I'm like, Vivian Campbell, I'm thinking to myself, these guys were his guitar player. Now I'm his guitar player. I know I could play and everything, and I know what I know, but I don't hold myself. I look up to those guys, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
And I'm like, now I'm guiding him you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I had to sit down a little bit and whoa, it was a big deal. And when I hear it today, I feel the same way. I'm like, I just want to crank it, you know. The whole album, but that song especially because it's, and then when we would play it live, it was like, forget it. For me, I was in it, didn't see anybody. Everything's just black, you know, lights, whatever. And just the sound of that riff with a drummer like that and a bass player like that, playing it in a big, giant place, and then the vocals. I couldn't hear it getting any better. And according to them, they couldn't either. They were just, you know, we had a good time on that tour. And before anything started getting weird or anything started going wrong or any members were changed, that's when the magic was right then. When just for whatever reason that was there. Some people like it, some people hated it. A lot of people didn't like it because it wasn't the old Dio. I get all that. The fans, you know, they like what they like, whatever. I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
I didn't give a shit. I just liked it. I loved it. That's how I always play. I still play like that. And I try to fuck shit up the best I can and make it mine. And I just thank God that I got to do it with a singer like that, you know.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So Tracy, I know your time's limited and you got to take off soon. You
Yeah,
got a
I got
story
a couple
about
of minutes.
Ronnie?
What's that? What's that?
You have a funny story about Ronnie?
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is real quick. I said this on another podcast. The guy was dying. It's just silly. There's a bunch of them, but this one sticks out. It sticks out to me, and you'll see why. We're on the tour bus. We're partying, whatever that means. Everybody has a drink. Yeah, screaming and yelling. We might be going down the highway, you know. The bus driver's driving. We're on the bus after a gig, real successful gig, and at one point, and I think we might have all been in parties like this. I know I have. I'm sure you guys have too. I didn't expect this from Ronnie. Ronnie jumps on the little table. That was like they have like these little like a little where you want to eat breakfast or whatever, like little tables in the motorhome, in the buses,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Jumps on there, lays on his back, spreads his legs, and lights a fart. And okay, that's no big deal, right? We've all either done it or seen it, whatever. As silly as it is, but Ronnie James Dio. I mean, you know, it's funny to even say that, but he's just a regular dude sometimes. And under those conditions, you know, no one would ever tell that story because they would have had to been there. Who's going to know that? And who's even going to tell that story? I mean, I don't think anybody, but I did. You know, because I thought it was pretty regular.
Yeah, no
You know,
doubt.
like, I mean, it wasn't like,
And so was Ronnie.
I don't know. Yeah. Ronnie had a great sense of humor. He was real
Yeah.
witty. If you've ever met him, you know he's real witty, real smart, real bright, real professional, real concerned about the music, real cared. 90% of all singers I've ever been in a band with back in the 80s, everything, singers, they don't give a shit. They're like, you know, where's the chicks? And, you know, they're all fucking around somewhere. They don't help with the equipment, you know, whatever. They're singers. Ronnie was like, he was there first, and, you know, we used to go, in the making of Strange Highways, I lived at his house. Tommy Petty lived next door, so I'd see Tom Petty mowing his lawn. You know?
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
I'm
That's
laying there
fucking
like
wild.
pinching myself, going, what happened? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then he would go to the studio, but every day before the studio, we'd stop by, and the Winchell's donut, and you get like a dozen donuts for the studio, and because we'd be going there early in the morning, you know. Just a real caring guy that he cared about the snare sound. He cared about the guitar sound. He cared about the bass sound. He cared. He cared about his band's sound with the songs. And I'd never really been in a band with a guy that cared that much, especially the singer. So that was very refreshing and very rememberable and a classic. I mean, you know, what is
That's
it
awesome.
to say? Yeah. If you've ever met him, I think you met him, right? A few people there maybe.
Yeah.
You
Met
kinda
him
know
several times.
he's very witty. He doesn't have the personality of like an Ozzy Osbourne. Nothing against Ozzy, but Ozzy's a little bit like whatever kind of guy.
Yeah.
Not Ronnie's on it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He'll engage into a conversation with you.
Yeah,
You
his,
know,
in
he
his
wants to know
house-
about you. You know,
in his-
where are you from?
Yeah, in his house. In his house, it's books, library, books. He does a lot of reading. And anybody who reads a lot, you know, they tend to know a lot of stuff. I mean, you know, it's educational. I'm not much of a reader, so you know,
Not me either.
I'm lucky. I'm lucky. I know how to plug in my guitar. You know what I mean? Like, you know, right?
So does anybody else have a question for Tracy before we let him go?
I got a quick one. So when he lit his fart on fire, was it like a dragon flame that came out?
It was a big.
No.
It was a big flame. It was a big fucking flame.
It wasn't like a dragon, like the fire
Nope.
dragon.
No, it was
All right.
it was a fucking flame.
Yeah, I was listening today to Angry Machines, and
Yes.
it's cool how they put this live bonus disc on this live Angry Machines tour 1997, where you get to play like, you know, the old Rainbow songs and stuff. I know you're on a couple of other live albums, official albums,
Yeah,
but
he's done a couple of them.
what-
Yeah.
when I listening to it today, I was thinking how much like I heard all this little detail that you add to songs. I wonder if Dio encouraged you to put your stamp on the songs or to give you
You
the
know what?
liberty to just do whatever you want, because I hear so much little things going on
Yeah,
that
I didn't play it the way it goes, and if you listen to anything, that's part of the reason I got cut from the band, because as time went, a lot of the fans were complaining about that. Hey, he's not playing the solo for, you know, stand up and shout right. He's not playing the solo for that. Ronnie never told me to. Ronnie knew I was an individual and I was my own guy. And I respected Richie Blackmore. I respected Tony Iommi. I respected them all. But when it came to the guitar solo, that's my turn to speak. I just went off. And if he ever didn't like it, he could have just said, hey man, play it the way it goes. He never said that once. He just let me be me. My stupid little sound effects and the whole trip. And like, remember, Vinny told me in the beginning, he wasn't a big fan of that noisy. See, I didn't play guitar the way those other guys played guitar. I was mixing it up with like industrial type sounds, and I still do for whoever wants to hear it, right? I mean, but there I'm on I'm in a major band where whether people wanted to or not, they got to hear some of that crap I was doing, and that's just to make it mine. I'm trying to be an individual. I have so many favorite guitar players. I mean, from Steve Stevens to Angus Young, Eddie Van Halen, everybody, you know. I mean, I just steal a little bit from everybody and try to play, you know, whatever I can. But still say, my biggest dream was always when people hear me play, they know it's me, not just another good guitar player. I mean, how many guitar players do you guys see on YouTube and Facebook today that are great, but they fucking sound the same? They
Yeah.
sound just like they sound the same. And
Yeah,
Like
it's
a lot of-
exactly. It's like note for note. But that's what made it interesting while I was listening to it today, because I've heard so many live albums. I've heard so many versions of these songs from other players
right,
for Dio, but it
no,
was really unique hearing your versions because
thank you.
it stood out. I'm like, oh, look at that. What's he doing there? Oh,
And
he added a little extra there, and it's
yeah,
all this little detail. It makes it
I
fresh.
mean,
It's a
I went.
great listen.
I even went as far as like the song "Heaven and Hell." Who doesn't know that song and that riff? Bam, 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 bam. C. It's supposed to be a C chord. I made it a C diminished. Like, no, who's gonna do that? I say, and that was so fucked up. I had to look at Ronnie when I first started jamming. I go, Zach, oh, he goes off. Tony would love that. Say to me, you know,
There you
just
go.
because it's new and fresh, but a lot of the hardcore fans don't appreciate that. They want it the way it goes. See?
Yeah.
So okay, but if I could stick in something that wasn't the original thing, but to me made it uglier, or mine, or just a signature sound that the other guys aren't making, I jumped on that because I'm not just trying to please a people pleaser. No, I just do my thing. It's more important to me to impress my dad or my mom, not the public and what I'm like, they brought me up a certain way. I play a certain way. I'm influenced by everything, like all kinds of music. So I want to fuck shit up. So sometimes it goes good with metal. Sometimes it's not even metal. A lot of those sound effects I do, they have nothing to do with metal, but that's the whole idea. It's just music to me. It's sound. Jeff Beck, I love a bunch of guitar, but I love the sound effects that Jeff Beck did. What's he doing? Like what? How's he doing that? What's he doing that? It's not always the fastest thing in the world, though. I wasn't brought up like that, so I go for more the bluesier type stuff that comes out of your soul. That's what I try to do. Some people get it, and a lot of people don't get it. So you could go, well, Tracy, most people aren't getting it. Maybe you should do what people are getting. Not me. I did what I got. Because I guess I'm just stubborn like that. And I'm just like, one time Ronnie goes, we're at practice, I'm stepping on my pedal board, making all these sound effects. He goes, Tracy, you do that on every song. If you do that too much, people are going to think that's all you know how to do. And my answer to him was, and he's right, but my answer to him was good, because I could pick up a flamenco guitar and play it. I can play stuff on. It's what I want to do, though.
Right.
I can play however I want to play. If I want to play more notey stuff or faster stuff, I do. And if I want to play Evolution, straight back to Strange Highway, Evolution, I told him, would you mind if I didn't do a guitar solo? Because it's time for the guitar solo, right? That's a guitar solo. We're in the studio. Time for a guitar solo. Well, you don't want to do a guitar solo? What are you going to do with there? You go, I just want to make sounds. Really? Yeah, I just want to make a cross between Jimi Hendrix, feedback, pick scrapes, harmonics, dive bombs, just sound. Oh, and if you listen to the song, that's what happens.
Yeah.
And the song's chaotic. Great song. I love that song too. So,
Absolutely.
it's just a different way of going at it. And a lot of people weren't ready for me. And Ronnie was, God bless him, he was open enough to let me go. And tell, Anger Machines, they started closing things up a little bit. Because Strange Highways didn't sell all that great. So Anger Machines, we got to tame this guy back a little bit. That's when it starts to, grunge is the big deal. Let's cut out the guitar solos. I thought was a wrong move, but he's the boss. He's Ronnie.
Yeah.
What am I going to tell him? I go, it's built on guitar solos. It's built on guitar. Your band's always been built on the guitar player type of thing. You got to have a bunch of guitar players. You got to turn me the fuck up, turn me up, because that's the kind of band it is. I wasn't trying to be a pig or anything, but I mean, that's the kind of band it is. It's, you know, you ram it down their throat, you know, with guitar. It's a guitar band, and they back it up on Anger Machines. It's got great parts on it, I think. Too much for the people, but people couldn't follow it because it goes all over. But there's not a lot of guitar solos because they took them out. They went, oh no, it's grunge time. The guitar solos are dying, so we're going to follow a trend. Ronnie James Dio follows a trend. He's supposed to make the trend. What am I going to do? Sit the boss down and tell him what to do? I can't. I wasn't going to do that. So I just said,
Of course.
okay, you know, I did the best I could with until they said goodbye. We're going to get Craig Goldie back because the new record company they want to sell tickets, money. We're going to get Jimmy Bain back, as much of the original guys as we can, because we want to sell tickets. Let's face it, that's the world we're living in. That's what every business is about, is money, right?
Of course.
I've just always just been about making the sound, making music, and worrying about where my money was going to come later. That's me, but that's not everybody else. That's the way it
You
goes.
made 1 million albums after that. You got so many solo albums. I looked on your Wikipedia page today. I couldn't believe how many like albums you've been part of. You've been so busy
Well,
throughout the years.
since the Dio 1999 is when they let me go. That's all I've done. I have a little home studio, which I'm in right now, and I just keep, a lot of them only sold 10 copies, 15 copies. People don't know about them. You know, oh, so I'm supposed to stop? No, I keep going. It's tough because you want to sell, of course, but you know how selling is. Selling is like, well, how good are we on Facebook? How good are we on the internet? How good are we on, I'm shitty on all that. I grew up stapling flyers to a pole and one knob on my guitar. I don't know how to press buttons and shit. I don't know social media bullshit. I don't know that shit. You know, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I don't even know, you know, go home. Like, I don't even know what, I just play, but like you said, you can look on my website if anybody chooses to do that, and you'll see over probably 20 albums that I've done. And I'm still doing them. I'm still working on them. Because
And that website is tracyg.com.
tracyg.com, and it'll take you to the Bandcamp. That's where they sell. They come off of that. And you can buy just tons of them. You know, different. Some of them are instrumental. Some of them have vocalists. Some of them are heavy metal. Some of them are blues. Some of them are flamenco guitar, like Gypsy Kings and Santana instrumental. I love that kind of stuff. But when it gets heavy, it gets pretty heavy. Heavier than anything else I've done. But it doesn't have the push, you know?
Right.
Tracy's just the guy that got kicked out of Dio or whatever. Yeah, it's okay. I'm grateful that I had that gig, that I did that, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't even be talking to you guys if I didn't do that. You know me. You know of me because of that. So
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
I'm grateful.
you're my first Dio guitar player. You're the first one I know by Dio, so for me it's kind of special.
So the first album you heard from Dio was Strange Highways.
Yes.
Wow, what a trip!
So I was a little curious because back then we talked pre-internet stuff, which is I find a little good time because looking at artwork and kind of imagine what goes into the album and stuff and have no source of understanding. Had you any kind of input or anything to do with the artwork or idea to put in the artwork?
On the look of the album,
Yeah.
no, I had nothing. That he just came to us one day and said, "What do you think of this?" I'm like, "Great." All I was there for when they were mixing the album the songs, recording the songs, mixing them. But as far as like anything else, any of the business, I know nothing. Any of the artwork, I don't know. I don't know where any of that came from. It was just all him.
Okay, thank you.
What are you working on right now, Tracy?
Real quick, I got a couple things I've done. I got a couple more minutes. A couple things I've done in the last couple years and now. Vinny Appice's older brother, Carmine Appice. I had his album right there, but I don't know where it is. I did an album with him about a year ago. The guy's name's Randy Pratt. He's a crazy bass player. I've never met him. We did the whole album. Email me tracks, play on it, email them, that, social media thing, as much as I could do in that,
Right.
Email, internet. I think it's called Ruffins. Ruffins 3 is with Carmine. Well, I just finished a Ruffins 4. All the drums were with Vinny. I'm on guitar, the whole thing, and Randy's on bass, and he's got various singers. I've already done that, so they're mixing that now. Okay. On Ruffins 3, the one with Carmine, it's got Bumblefoot on it, Vinnie Moore on it, Tony.
Oh, wow.
Fallon. It's got all kinds of big names. He's got me on it. This guy Randy Pratt, it's his thing. It's his thing. But I never met any of them. And Carmine I've met back in the day, and Vinny I talked to a couple times this year, but I was never in the same room with anybody. It's just, and real quick, Randy Pratt's projects, it's different than like Strange Highway was written like that. It's different like that. He says, Vinny, at a tempo 102, play a beat. Just play a beat. But I don't have a song, just play a beat. Says it to him. Vinny just plays a drum beat, does some rolls, just by himself to a click. Says it to him, plays a crazy bass line. Tracy, here, go crazy, go nuts on it. That's the kind of artist this guy is. Perfect for me. I'm like, well, okay, just it's nuts, it's crazy. But these songs come out pretty amazing. I'm shocked. I couldn't do it. And it gets singers to write lyrics to these things. Yeah. So that's not out yet, but I did that. That should be coming out within, I don't know, maybe 6 months or something. I also have a project called Dark Mile. It's not my band, it's my friend Paul's band. Paul Alfrey, Randy Oviedo, and Mark Huff is the singer. Mark lives in Washington, the other guys live here. We put it out an album last year in Germany, and we're almost done with our second album now. We're getting ready to master it. And it's classic rock, 80s-ish, with a heavy twist, Yeah. And,
Awesome.
we all write everything, and Paul does all the mixing and stuff. So that's recently what I did. And what I'm actually working on right now is just me and another guitar player. No bass, no drums, no singing, flamenco, Spanish guitar, acoustic.
Awesome.
We booked some gigs for later on in the year, and just two guitar players going at it, some originals. We'll do some covers, and but doing them kind of like in the style of like maybe Gypsy Kings and some of these Latin artists, that are doing. Yeah, that's what I'm working on right now, along with I record something every day, something different, whatever. Because I have my own studio, one day I can do some Latin stuff, and the next day I can do the heaviest thing you ever heard. Yeah. That's
awesome.
That's what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Excellent.
Cool. Hey, I
Excellent.
wanted to show you something, Tracy, before you got to go, because this involves you. This is an old set list.
Oh.
This is the set list from the 1998 tour when you guys were promoting the live album, and you autographed it. And Ronnie, because me going as Tony Dio, everybody's called me Dio for years. So
Yeah.
Ronnie got joking around. He wrote to Dio from Dio to Dio from Dio over and over down it. Yeah.
Funny.
But yeah,
That's
that was
funny.
from the
That's
98,
awesome.
98 tour, man.
That's
Yeah.
that's for, I think, is it for the album?
The Inferno album.
No, the live album.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I
that
think by then Simon was playing drums because, like I said, a couple weeks after that, you guys played Charlotte, and I ended up being one of the runners that we went and picked you guys up from the hotel and everything.
Vinny
Yeah.
got asked earlier to be the sub for Bill Ward for Black
Yeah.
Sabbath, and he didn't even have to play. Sharon Osbourne just wanted him there in case Bill got sick. They didn't want to have to cancel any gigs. So they needed a backup for Bill. I guess he was kind of sick then, a few years back. So Vinny left Dio, and then in San Francisco we had a couple of days off, and what was his name? I forgot his
Simon Wright.
Simon Wright came in.
From
Great guy, great drummer. Came in and we worked out the set with him to do that. You know, we were on
Yeah, I remember you and I and him. We were all riding in the car to the gig, and I asked him, did he ever talk to the guys in AC/DC? And he said, yeah, I went and saw him when they played the Forum. And you said, who's playing drums now? And he said, the original guy, Phil Rudd. And you said, is he a nice guy? And he says, well, he just looked at me and said, what the hell are you doing here? And we all laughed. I remember that. That was cool.
All I used to do with Simon is want to hear stories about, Angus Young and his brother and shit.
Yeah.
I'm a giant AC/DC fan. Who isn't? Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, those, all those guys are super cool. Most of them are just, super cool. From Simon, Vinny, all these drummers. I got real lucky to get to play with Ray Luzera from Korn, Mickey D from Motorhead. Drummers, everybody's important in the band, but the drummer's really fucking important in a band. I mean, in a rock band, you gotta have a man playing drums. If you know what, there's no fucking around. Otherwise, I mean, and I know a lot of drummers think they are men and they can play, but there's only a handful of fucking guys that can do that job. It's a pretty demanding job, and I got blessed and got lucky enough to play with quite a few amazing. Ray Luzera is like one of the top 10 drummers in the world. That guy's sick. He's on a couple of my instrumental CDs. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh man, I had him right in here in my little studio. And more than that, they're awesome guys. They're like regular guys. There's just no rock star, no ego, no the rock star attitude, that whole thing. I don't go for none of that shit. If I sense that in any musician, out. No, don't even come here. That's it. I'm sorry I have to take off, but I hope you guys have a good show. And it was great meeting everybody.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, Tracy, thank you so much for getting back to me and doing this, dude. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, man. Send me a link to it when you put it
I
up.
definitely will. When it gets up, I'll send it right over to you.
Right on,
And
man.
come back anytime.
Yeah, please.
Have a good-
Whatever you want, man. Come back. When you got new albums coming out, hit me up and let me know.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you, man.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
All right. Adios.
All right.
Good night.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, Robert Tuttle. Welcome back to Rock Fantasy Files. Been a minute, man.
Yeah.
How you doing?
How's everything going?
All right.
Yeah, we
Good.
up rehearsal tonight. We usually rehearse on Wednesday to participate. I saw Mark was on here for a bit, but he dropped out. I see our drummer Billy's on here.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we
All
couldn't
right.
have Dio.
Absolutely. So that was a cool fucking chilling with Tracy G.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess let's go to our little round table here and talk about some Dio memories. If you've seen him live, if you've met him, if you bought a Dio record that changed your life, I want to hear about it. I'm prepared to record until 1 a.m. if you guys want to hang out. I don't care.
I'm game. I'm
I'm
game.
here for the long haul. So Tony Dio, what do you got? Give us some stories.
Oh Lord, dude, man. I saw Ronnie 12 times in either in Dio or Heaven and Hell, Sabbath. So yeah, got to meet him several times. I loaded some photos up that I was going to try to share with you guys, but I can't figure out how to make that work. So I grabbed a few things here. That's my favorite picture with Ronnie. That was after a gig with King's X and Hammerfall. If I got the date on that, would have been that was at the 930 Club in Washington, D.C. So that was in 2002. Yeah, it's King's X and Hammerfall, and we were just hanging out upstairs after the show. Ronnie was just being really cool. He was hanging out with it. There was some drunk dude was up there, and he was hugging all over Ronnie. Go, I love you, man. And he wasn't being a prick or anything, like pushing the guy off. He's just like, yeah, man, and stuff. And then when we all walked outside, and it's snowing, and he goes to get on the bus, and there's a line of about 25 people waiting to meet him. And he stopped and he signed autographs for everybody, took pictures. He the tour manager's going, come on, Ronnie, we got to go. And he's like, just a few more minutes. You got just a few more people, But yeah, like I said, my first concert for Dio was the Dream Evil tour. And that was in Greensboro, North Carolina, 1987, with Megadeth and Sabotage in support. So that's the first time I got to see him. And I didn't see him again until almost 10 years later when he was doing clubs. I was actually supposed to see him on the Strange Highways tour, and we're getting ready to leave to go to that show and found out it was canceled. And funny story there, a friend of mine who I met some years later, we were just talking. He said, yeah, I went to that show too, and it was canceled. He says, I don't know what happened. He goes, they were there. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, they were there. I don't know why the show got canceled. It was lack of ticket sales or something. He said, but he goes, I was on the boardwalk in Virginia Beach, and I was just standing there looking out at the ocean, and I saw this little woman with high heels coming down the boardwalk. And as she got closer and closer, I realized it wasn't a woman. It was Ronnie James Dio. He stopped and talked to him, but he didn't tell him why the show was canceled. He goes, oh, it's a bummer, it got canceled. And but yeah, it's so like I said, I got to meet him, different times. After that thing group, during that where I showed the set list a while ago to Tracy. I went to a gig in Charlotte, North Carolina. It was in a little arena, and this girl was working as a runner. She says she had to go pick the band up. She goes, I can't fit everybody in my car. Do you want to go? So I just ended up hanging out with her and stuff, and we went and picked the band up and hung out and stuff. And that was cool, man. They gave me a working pass and everything. Then, of course, like a year or so later, I actually started working as a runner in the business, with all kinds of groups. So that was my first experience into that. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, Ronnie would talk to you. He'd ask you stuff about yourself. And, he asked me, he says, why the hell do they call you Dio? You're too tall. And I said, well, I said, when I was in school, I said, I used to wear Dio t-shirts all the time, which actually really came from, I had a denim jacket with Dio painted on the back. And I think that's where it really came. But I used to wear Dio t-shirts all the time. And Ronnie, in his humorous self, says, well, it's a damn good thing you didn't wear Madonna shirts every day. But yeah, like I said, he was cool. The first show that I went to, the second show I went to, like I said, 10 years after my first show, I drew a lot in high school. So I drew this picture of Ronnie James Dio when I was in like the 11th grade.
Oh wow.
And I did a print of it. I made a color print, and I brought it to him that night. And he was actually not feeling well, so he didn't come out and sign autographs. And I handed it to the tour manager. He brought it on the bus, and he goes, "Hey, hold up, hold up." And I thought he was going to bring me on the bus for a second. And he goes, "Ronnie's got something for you." And he sent me out, which you can barely see in this corner, is a handwritten letter. It's a handwritten note. And he wrote he put to Dio, he put, "Thanks a million for the brilliant piece of art. Sorry I couldn't see you right now, but I promise we'll meet next time. All the best, Ronnie James Dio." And I was like, wow, that's like the coolest thing in the world, you know. And
Wow.
so he did, and he did. And the next
Hey,
time,
can you hold that up again? No, can you hold up the drawing again really quick and just hold it for a second? That is fucking cool, man.
It really
Holy
is.
shit, that is
Excellent.
awesome.
So I have another drawing that I did it's a Black Sabbath painting, and it's where I can't get to it right now, but it's got like all the members around. It's got, you know, Ian Gillan and Ozzy and Dio. It's got Vinny, I mean, and Bill, of course, and Tony and Geezer. And I did an interview before I ever met Ronnie in person. Like I said, I did an interview with him over the phone for a zine I was writing with. So that was my first meeting with him ever. And actually, no, that was after this. That was after this, because I was telling him, I said, "Hey, I gave you this painting, this drawing." He goes, "Oh yeah, I remember that. That's cool." I said, "I got another one I'm going to bring you next time. It's all the, it's a Sabbath one with everybody that's played in Sabbath." I said, "Up to Ian Gillan." He goes, "Yeah, if you did it now, you'd need a lot bigger piece of canvas," meaning all the members that had been in the band, through the years, But so I gave him a print of that as well. It's a picture of me on my Facebook page of me and him, and he's holding it up. But like I said, every time I saw him, he would always say, "Hey," and he always remembered your name. Like I said, if he met James once, the next time he says, "Hey, James, how are you?"
Yeah.
He'll say something like, "Your brother was sick last time." You hear the stories. He'll remember stuff like that. Here's another thing that he autographed. This is a Rainbow in the Dark single, 12-inch.
Nice.
And he wrote Magic, Ronnie James Dio. He always wrote Magic. This is signed by Vinny and Vivian as well. Through the years, I got them to sign it. And I think I got Vinny or Vivian at one of the Last in Line performances. Yeah, there you go. Count's got it.
Awesome.
Yeah. I got a bunch of stuff signed. I mean,
Mine's only signed by Vinny, I think. Yeah, I only got Vinny.
Yeah, Vinny actually signed this the same time Ronnie did, but it was when the pen was given out. So when I saw him with Last in Line years later, I got him to sign it again, But yeah, I got a bunch of stuff signed for him and all. But my last meeting with Ronnie was one of the later dates. I got the dates all down here. It was the Heaven and Hell Devil You Know tour, 2009, Columbia, Maryland. That was like towards the end of there was only like 3 dates left, I think. And within a year, he wouldn't be with us, basically. And but it was funny because we're hanging out backstage afterwards. And my friend Richard Johnson, who's joined us before, Richard was driving a truck for him for the tour, and he had us backstage and we're hanging out and stuff. And Ronnie comes out and he's like, "Hey, I was talking to my friend on the phone," and I said, "Hey, Ronnie, what's happening?" He goes, "Hey, man, what's up?" And he comes over and I give my phone to him and I'm like, "Here, talk to Ray. Ray couldn't come." And he's like, "Hello, Ray. Sorry you couldn't make the show tonight. Maybe next time." I mean, he's just talking to him, My friend's like, "Is that really him? Was that really?" He thought I was joking. He thought it was another buddy joking around, but no, he was talking to Ronnie, and Ronnie gave us some beer that night. He gave us some Bottleton's English Ale. He said, "It's in my dressing room. You guys can have it." He said, "My stomach's been screwed up. I haven't been drinking a lot lately." And it's probably because he had stomach cancer, but he didn't know it, But and when I heard that, I thought about that. I was like, man, that's probably why he said he didn't feel good that night, But he gave us some beer. I remember going back to the hotel, and my brother-in-law at the time was there, and I was like, "Look, I got this beer from Ronnie James Dio." He goes, "I love that beer, and I love it even more because it belonged to Dio." But yeah, like I said, man, he was the greatest, man, and just the coolest dude ever. And I mean, I've met a lot of rock stars, and I met a lot of people that are really cool, but Ronnie it was something special about him. He always made you feel like you mattered, You know, you
Yeah.
weren't just a fan; you were a lot more to him. You know,
No
so
doubt.
so yeah. But yeah, I've got, like I said, I've got just tons of stuff. I'll be doing a video for the Metal Emporium eventually, just showing off my Dio collection because I've got quite a bit of stuff.
That's excellent. I look forward to that.
The 2 hour episode. Maybe it won't be that long.
What's the name of your channel again? Promote it on here.
It is Tony Dio's Metal Emporium on YouTube.
Go check out Tony Dio's Metal Emporium and like and subscribe, you jerks.
That's it.
Ed Farshty,
Hey,
how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Good.
Give us some Dio stories. What do you got?
Well, unfortunately, I never got to meet Ronnie. Loved him, you know, obviously forever. You know, discovered Rainbow as a young kid. Loved Sabbath. Loved all of Dio. Loved all the albums. Never got to meet Ronnie. First time I saw him, like Tony Dio, on the Dream Evil tour. Wanted to see him. Don't remember why I didn't see him on the Last in Line tour. But I didn't see that tour. Didn't see him until Dream Evil. Saw Heaven and Hell. God, I think 5 times. Different places, different states, different years, just absolutely phenomenal. Heard so many stories, so many people that have met Ronnie, and everybody has said the same thing, that he was just an outstanding man, just a gentleman, and just the coolest guy. And as your last 2 guests have said, yeah, I mean, basically Ronnie is the best. I really wish I could have met him. I mean, I know the day he died, I was driving home with my mother, my aunt, and her husband, who have all passed away now. And I was listening to Q104 because I was driving, and all of a sudden they made the announcement, and I just remember just sinking into my seat while I'm driving and almost wanting to cry. And my mother's like, "What's wrong?" And I told her, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And my aunt's husband was a reverend, so he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you know, he's with God now," and all. And I'm like, "Yeah," and I was just like, so fucking tragic, so tragic. I mean, he was absolutely brilliant. Just like,
Yeah, such a sad day.
yeah, it really was. I'll remember that day forever. Like I said, I mean, you always hear musicians dying and all, but because I heard it that day, and it was just like, it just stay in my memory forever. And it was such a shock. I didn't know he had anything wrong with him. I was just like, oh my God. So, what a shame.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, I remember
Days.
they went out on tour right after that Heaven and Hell tour. They went out to do a Dio tour in Europe, and I remember reading like on Blabbermouth or something where the tour, you know, it had to stop because something was wrong, a health reason. And then I was like, man, Ronnie's probably sick or something, you know. And then of course the news came out that he had stomach cancer. But it was, you know, they always kept positive about it. Kept saying he was going through, you know, Wendy was doing updates and stuff, and you know, a lot of people don't realize too, Ronnie and Wendy were divorced,
Yeah.
but and had been for years, but she stayed by his side and managed him, and you know, helped him with his career for years. I mean, they were like best friends.
Yeah, I was,
you know,
together.
and she stayed by him till the end, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, and made sure that the legacy lives on, you know. I mean, good Lord, I hope to visit it one day. That is one of the most beautiful grave sites I have ever seen.
I'd love to see that too.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, Billy from Last in Line, welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. Not sure if you've been on here before. What do you got for us, man? You got some Dio memories?
I've never met Dio, but I love the music. And when I joined Lady Evil, it's probably the best band, best sound I've ever played in my 42 years of playing drums. And I am so excited to do, you know, Dio music, and just really happy to be where I am right now.
You guys got any
Having
gigs
fun.
coming up?
Having fun with it.
Yeah, we have a bunch of shows coming up. We got was it Moriarty's and Yonkers coming up in May.
Nice.
We got another Dingbat show coming up.
That's in October. We have one in Brothers in Middletown, I think, in July.
Yeah, we just did Chiller Theater actually last week, Saturday, right? So it was Saturday. Awesome show. People love the Dio. And like I said, this is like absolute favorite band I've ever been in since I've started playing, pretty much.
Right.
Great.
So where do we find you guys on social media? You're on Facebook. You're on Instagram.
We're definitely on Facebook to look up Lady Evil.
YouTube.
Uh,
Just what people have put up. We don't have an official.
we don't officially, yeah.
Figured as a tribute
Okay.
band, it kind of is. I don't know. We put it on our Facebook pages, but to have your own that's not your material just seems kind of weird. So we haven't done
Right.
that.
Okay. So go follow Lady Evil on social media. Just search him out. Go see him live. Robert Tuttle,
Yo, what's up,
what's
brother?
going on, man?
I
You got some video stories for us?
I never met Dio, although a friend of mine was his bodyguard for a couple of years, but it was before I knew him, so lucky me. Yeah, he says, "Oh, I could have got you all kinds of access." I'm like, "Yeah, now you tell me." It's like 10 years later. um, I was always a huge Sabbath fan as a little kid because I'm the youngest. My sibling was 12 years older than me, and I used to get all his hand-me-downs. I was in first grade. I had a Black Sabbath T-shirt,
Nice.
and I was listening to the Volume 4 and stuff like that. And then when I hit it was 1980, so I was just getting into high school and stuff like that. Heaven and Hell came out, and I was always a huge fan. But then when that album hit, I was like, holy shit, what the hell is this? And that's when I got serious into like starting to play music and stuff like that. And it was just that was a complete. I hate the word game changer, but it was actually literally a game changer. I don't know. I never heard anything quite like it because Ozzy was great, but he sang over top the melodies. He sang with the melodies, and Dio kind of sang over everything. And they went from they started doing more mystical and Dungeons and Dragons-y stuff, and I don't know. It was just a complete. I don't know. Was and is my favorite band of all time. Is Sabbath with Dio in it, and I've seen him a bunch of times. Some solo with the Sacred Heart tour, I want to say, and
Nice.
I was at 3 or 4 Heaven and Hell shows, including the taping at Radio City Music Hall. I was in the I was in the mezzanine at Radio City, and I saw an interview where Tony said that it was supposed to be longer. There was supposed to be more songs on it, but the union for the stagehands wouldn't allow it to go over X amount of time, so they had to make it the way it is. That's why some of the intros were longer live than they were on the albums, is because they needed to make up a little space. Not enough to put another song on there, but they had to like make a little space. But it was still a great night. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, great show. I was there too. That was a great show.
You were there too?
Yeah.
Brother, if I had known you at the time.
Yeah, man.
I've met Vinny a couple of times, and funny thing is, last time he was at Chiller, which was in October. I was talking to him for a while, and I told him we had Lady Evil, and I had to leave Chiller Theater Saturday to go do our gig at Dingbats, and then go back. And I was talking to him, and I was like, "Yeah, we got a Ozzy Dio Sabbath tribute band, and we're playing 15 miles down the road." And he says, "Yeah, that's great." He goes, "How long does it take to get there?" And I'm like, "Well, 15 miles to Jersey, half an hour, And he was interested, and he was really interested, and I thought he was going to come, And I actually told him, I was like, "I'm sure. Listen, Billy will let you jump in." I was like, "We do I." And he says, "You guys do I?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we do I." And he goes, "Did you know that was Dio's favorite song?" And I was like, "No, but do now." And he was really interested in his I don't know if it's his wife or girlfriend kind of said, he's got stuff to do. And yeah, which is good because if he had come up and jumped on stage or something like that, I could have died right there. So
Yeah, man. Of course.
Playing because he's like my
happy.
I have like 2 professional drummers. I mean, obviously Billy's my favorite drummer I've worked with, but 2 of the drummers that I would like die to work with on an album would be Vinny Appice, number 1, and Guy Gelso from Zebra, number 2. And
There you go.
yeah, I mean the guy Gelso is so underrated. Not to get off Dio, but he could fill in for Neil Peart. That's the kind of style he's got. He's not 100% Neil, but that's his shtick, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, Dio. It's kind of cliche, but it's all true. You know, it's a whole different animal that he started a whole genre of music that other people didn't. And
Yeah.
you know, I
Yep.
mean, just like, you know, Ed said that, you know, he heard the news, and I'm like, you know, I had heard rumors thereof for a long time that he had cancer and stuff like that, and then I was like, oh Jesus, you know, this is a sad day in metal when he finally passed, you know. And they kept you know, a few weeks before he passed away, I think it was either Tony or Geezer, one of the guys said, like, you know, they're making plans to tour.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
Right? Remember that? They were making
Yeah.
He
plans.
appeared. Remember, he
Right.
appeared on the Metal Hammer Golden Gods Awards, and he got the
Yeah.
Lifetime Achievement. And he came, and they talked like he was just worn out. I mean, it took
Yeah.
everything he had to get there and do that. And he put on
Yeah.
a good face, and I was like, man, good. He's doing good. He's coming back. You know.
Yeah.
He gave us a ray of hope.
Yeah, yeah. It was short lived. But yeah, you know, I mean, his stuff lives on. Obviously, there's a boatload of tribute bands out there to Dio, and you know, we're just happy. There's a lot of Sabbath tributes, and we're happy to be one of the few that actually throws the Dio era in. You know, because they don't. They're all. I mean, we know in our area there's 2-3 of them that come here, and they're pretty good. You know, but they only do the Sabbath years. Nobody dips their toe into the Dio years, and you know, I mean, opinions are opinions, and they don't really mean a whole lot at the end of the day. But to me, that's the prime. Is the Dio stuff. It went from just a drudgy, you know, great band, but to something that was beyond, you know, just singing lyrics over the riffs. You know, not to, you know, I mean, I love Geezer's lyrics. Everybody attributes them to Ozzy, but Ozzy only wrote 3 songs. Geezer wrote all the lyrics in Black Sabbath. You know, it's I don't know, it's Dio. That's you know, it's that sound Wayne's World. You know, it's Dio. You know, what are you gonna do?
That's right.
Speaking of tribute bands, I did see a video the other day where the McDonald's tribute thing that they do, the Mac Sabbath with the McDonald characters. You know, they have the they've got a Ronnie James Dio character comes out now called like Ronnie McD or something like that, Mickey D or something.
I'm gonna have to look at that now. Yeah,
it's like a person comes out and does the song was called the Slob Drools because they make
Isn't it a female parodies. Too? It's a female.
Yeah, it's a
too,
female. It's a female. Yeah,
it's a female like Lady Evil.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I got now.
And she just does the Dio stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's 1 or 2 songs or something in the show because, you know, supposedly something happens to the Ronald guy. The Dio has to come
they fire him
and fill in or something. Yeah, they fire him or something. Yeah. Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
Ralph, you better be in our show in July over at Clemson Brothers.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta check it out.
Gotta come.
I've checked out a bunch of the videos and everything sounds great. You know.
Yeah, thanks, man. I just want to have a drink.
Man. I watched some videos of you guys. It's great. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we have a lot of fun, and we actually make a couple of bucks this time. Only band I've ever been that actually makes a couple of bucks.
Nice. So, Cal Ralphus, this episode is half your fault. We clanged our heads together and came up with this. What do you got, man? Give us some Dio stuff.
So I've talked about Dio so much on this channel, like or you know, not just this channel, but SOT and even Almost Human. It's like we can't not be a metalhead and not talk Dio. So my all-time favorite moment in my metal history is me and my wife went to see Heaven and Hell. I should know the exact date of the show and everything because it's such an important occasion. But I seen Heaven and Hell, and when they reunited with Dio, the only show I missed was this one because it sold out so quick. The Radio City. Besides that, I seen every single New York show or Jersey or whatever. I went to every one of them. I was a huge fan. But so we went to I forget what I was going at. Shit. Been drinking whiskey all day thinking about this. But oh yeah, so my favorite fucking moment ever being a metalhead in my entire life is we went to PNC Art Center. I imagine it was a Heaven and Hell show. The song Sign of the Southern Cross comes on. We're like 30 rows back and we're just watching the security going down to like the pit area the whole time. And I'm just like, people, they're not checking no more at this point in this show. And like people are just like roaming in. So I'm like, let's just get up and like go down there. Like we have a ticket, they're not even checking nobody no more. And we waited till there was a few people going and kind of went down. And we've done it plenty of other times for other shows. But so I get down there and I just start going crazy. And I get right on the stage, or like I'm leaning right on the front row of the stage there. And I lean backwards and I put the devil horns up, and Dio's coming over during Sign of the Southern Cross, and he puts the Maloik right on my head. And so I never actually met Dio, but I've touched him twice, and that was the first time he put the Maloik right on my head. I felt like I was blessed by the Pope, or
You were
way
christened
better than the
by
Pope.
Dio.
Yeah, I was Chris. I was born again from that moment on, whatever. But
Yeah.
then years later, the Heaven and Hell is going, and they're doing a signing at Sam Ash. And I've told this story before, but I never pulled out like the props for it. But anyway, so they're doing this signing at Sam Hash, and we drive down to New York City just for this. It's like we're going to meet the Heaven and Hell band, and we're online and we see all these people got like fucking guitars, and also it's supposed to be like the I think it was like the DVD coming out, and like so that was like what you were supposed to buy and get signed, but they were letting people sign other shit. So sure enough, idiots are got all their fucking guitars and all this stuff. Everybody's got to get everything signed, and you could just see people with all this shit. And it should have just been like what you were there for, and everybody could have met them. But anyway, it comes down to they're supposed to be there for like a whole nother hour, and they canceled the last hour for some reason. They had to leave, and there was about 30 of us outside that didn't get in yet. So we were like, fuck, some people just stormed right off. They told us like, if you stick around, we'll get you on a list, and we'll send you a t-shirt. And they actually did that. Oh shit. I'll have to go like through all these shirts because I got a whole bunch of shirts, but they sent me a shirt just because, and I just went through this. I got these books, these scrapbooks that I used to keep. I got two of them that are like Black Sabbath ones. This one you can see it's got like a Heaven and Hell sticker on it, and I got some more Heaven and Hell stickers on it. But I was doing these scrapbook things for a long time, and I got they just took up too much space. But anyway, one of the things I found was, sorry you didn't get into Heaven and Hell meet and greet last night. Please present this letter to and my card at any Sam Ash store for an additional 10% off any purchase. But I kept that little flyer. But so they felt bad that they had to leave, and Vinny come out, and he had a whole bunch of these personalized drumsticks. And this is one of the stories I've told before, but I didn't pull out the drumsticks, but it's got like their picture on it, and it's got the Heaven and Hell logo on it, And so Vinny comes out with like 10 of these, and he just wants to like hand them out. So he's like at the doorway and he's handing them out, and I'm like kind of tall. So I reach over and I grab one, and I grab it, and some short dude fucking grabs the bottom of it, and he's not letting go. And I've just went all the way to New York City to fucking meet these guys, and I'm not meeting them. But now I get a chance to get these fucking sticks. So anyway, this little dude's fucking holding on for life, and I see he's not letting go. So I just start pulling him out of the crowd, and I'm pulling him around the alley. If I got it, I'm gonna kill this fucker for this fucking sticks. I'm not fucking leaving. I was ready to kill the guy, and all of a sudden, his girlfriend comes running over and says, I got a pair. I got a pair. So he lets it go. And I'm like, she just saved your life, dude. But anyway, all of a sudden, my wife comes over and she got a pair. Because I guess he went back and grabbed more because people fucking kill each other for these sticks.
He's a good guy.
But yeah, so I met Vinny a couple times. Met him at Chiller. I met him at fucking a show at one of the Dio Disciple shows, and oh no, I seen him at the Last in Line show. I get to meet him,
That's
and
where I
I got a
got
whole bunch of
this.
autographs.
That's where I got that sign, Ralph. I was going to say was the Dio Disciple show at the Chance.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. I got a bunch of
Yeah.
I
shit
have that
signed too. That's
that
so
album.
crazy
Still
that
have
you
it
were there
signed.
that night. Well, actually, one of the things I got signed is I got a Simon Wright. I threw out a drumstick that night and I caught it, and he signed it. Simon Wright, Dio Disciples, right on the drumstick.
Mm.
So we were talking about him earlier, but so
Mhm.
yeah, and then so that was the and as they were leaving that night, because like a bunch of people left, so there's like maybe about 40 of us or 30 of us like sticking around. So as they walked out the door, we just like hung out there and we took pictures of them walking into like their car. And Dio fucking like slapped everybody's hand on the way out because he you knew he felt bad that they were leaving like an hour earlier than they were supposed to. So it was really cool that he at least like again I get to slap his hand. So I touched him twice, but never got to meet him, never got to know his name or anything. But I went to a chiller one time and I had like Rudy Sarzo and Simon Wright and Craig Goldie, and I got a Killing the Dragon autographed picture disc. I should be pulling that out in a little bit. But
Nice.
they later on in the day I was gonna meet Godzilla, the guy that played a Godzilla in all the costumes back in the original
I was
Godzilla guy,
there.
and I was waiting online and Craig Goldie was walking by and I just like gave him the horns and he was like, "Hey Ralph," like he remembered my name. Like it was just weird, even though it was only like maybe 2 hours earlier, but like he was doing the Dio thing where he was like remembering your name and stuff. So I thought that was fucking awesome. And I mean, or if we're gonna keep going around, I'd rather go around again because I just talked enough. But I got a bunch of crap to show, just like some merch and stuff like that. I got a bunch of T-shirts to go, but I don't want to take up like an hour right here. So someone else go.
Awesome. Ovi,
Yeah.
what do you got, dude? Any Dio
Well,
memories?
no, I have no Diego memories of sorts of that kind. I've never seen him live. I just remember how I came by him. It's really because I bought Overkill with WFO back in '94. And if you listen to the last song and it goes a while, like to track 97, you get
Yeah.
the Ripper, and then track 98, you get Sing Me a Song, I'm a Singer, with just Didi Verdi on bass and him singing. I was like, so what's this? This doesn't sound like Overkill. So I asked the guy at the record store, and it's like, oh, that's Black Sabbath. You don't know what Black Sabbath is? I'm like, no, this is for internet time. So that's how I got into listening to Heaven and Hell, even though it sounded quite different from Bobby Blitz. But so I heard Dio, and then I asked about Dio, and then of course the album that was Strange Highways. So that's how I got into Dio, was Strange Highways. So for me, it started with Strange Highways. So going back, for me, I've had a conversation with this with Ralph quite a few times because I'm from this side of the timeline instead of with the guys most of you guys come from. So for me, Holy Diver and Last Lines, this is probably going to get me flogged, but was kind of weak for me compared to the guitar sound on Strange Highways. I was like, I used a little time to kind of get into the groove about Holy Diver and Last Line. I love it now, of course, but to go from Strange Highways back to Holy Diver was kind of a weird trip. But yeah, but Strange Highways is still my favorite album of Dio because it's my first, yeah, it's my first Dio album. So it's probably why, like Tracy G said earlier, I thought it was so hanging loose and just making a good record. There is no limitations, and it's like probably why it's so good. And the
Yeah,
artwork, I
no
mean,
doubt.
how many hours I've been sitting watching that artwork
Oh
because
yeah.
it's
It's
so
a
cool.
cool.
The what's it called, kind of like universal, kind of like the circles going around it, and kind of like what the all little markings are on the kind of what's it called, star something, what's they called, star
Like constellations or
yeah,
something.
yeah, the constellations and all that
Oh,
stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a really lot of going on that artwork there, that if you really look, there's a lot of cool things. Because if
Yeah.
you just look, you see the guy and you see the kind of like the strange highway. But if you really look into it, there's so much cool stuff going on.
It's
And
like a
also, I guess,
The back
sundial.
has the symbols. Yeah, the sundial kind of symbols in the
Yeah.
back. You
Yeah.
can see it more. I think
Yeah.
inside this, yeah, this
Yeah.
got
yeah,
you really see it on the vinyl. Comes with it. It's actually a double vinyl too.
You know, I
Yeah.
remember when that album came out originally, it came out in Europe before it came out in the States. I mean, it was like, if I remember right, it was like you had to get it as an import, because I knew
At
a couple
first,
guys
yeah.
that ordered it, because it was maybe 6 months or so maybe before it came out in the US. I can't remember exactly, but I just remember a friend of mine did a special order and got it as, we used to order stuff. It was a mail order company called Metal Disc. And I think he ordered it. They had always had imports, and I think he ordered it from that, because he was the first
Yeah.
person. My friend Ray was the first person I ever knew that had it.
I think it was the same thing with Angry Machines too. I think it was like in Europe first and then over here.
I
But
remember.
it got
Angry
released on an
Machines
indie label
really
over
well.
here. You know, they were
Yeah,
still
that's how they-
Well,
Ronnie was still-
vinyl. You talking about vinyl or just the CD?
Just the CD.
CD.
No, just a Dio, just Strange Highways in general. I mean, because my friend
yeah,
ordered it on,
okay.
he ordered it on cassette first, because it was, like I said, you just couldn't go to your Sam Goody or record bar and buy it then, you know.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it definitely
Well, I
wasn't coming
remember-
out on vinyl at the time either. You know,
No,
in the States.
not in the
In
States.
Europe, though, the Europe kept getting everything on vinyl, but not us.
For a few years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to jog you guys' memories a bit, because I remember when Angry Machines came out. Was it one edition that had that kind of like that artwork that if you turn a little on it, it will change a little bit, like rugged kind of.
The lenticular
Yeah.
cover,
Yeah.
yeah, where it
The
moved. Yep.
the reissue on vinyl that came out a few years back had the lenticular covers. The first run of
Okay.
those all had lenticular covers. Yeah, but the
Okay.
original CD didn't. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
mine doesn't though. Mine's smooth and it's a double vinyl inside, but
Yeah, but
it's
we're
not a
talking about the
gatefold.
Angry Machines. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
Angry
Angry Machines, Magica, and Killing the Dragon and Master of the Moon all came out that last wave of vinyl when they all had the lenticular covers.
Yeah.
The reason why I ask, because usually when they reissue something with that kind of front cover, it's usually a very limited run first time
Mhm.
out. Like Megadeth for Euthanasia was blue
Mhm.
cover, it was a blue plastic.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I got the record
Yeah.
store day picture disc.
Oh,
It's
nice.
not even the full
That's such
album.
an underrated album. It's such an underrated album. I don't understand
Yeah.
why everybody gives shit on, but maybe it got to do with what Tracy G said, that they had took out all his solos.
Yeah.
I guess
Mhm.
it could be because I didn't ask Tracy G if he actually made the solos and they just took him out, or if he had
Well, he kind of said
jammed
that.
the-
He did kind of say that. He said that
They allude.
he had all sorts of stuff and they just like, you know, it was the grunge years and Dio cut out a bunch of the solos. He was kind of upset about that and he did say that tonight.
He did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it was like when they were creating the songs, or he actually the album was done with the solos and they took it out after that, or they just
I think he
Yeah.
did. I think he did
That's
say
what he
like he
meant.
recorded stuff and he was kind of like, "Why are you taking out the solos?" You know,
Well-
he didn't seem happy about like what it
Well,
could have been.
well-
It could have been better, you know,
Well,
especially
next
going
year
back
then-
to it.
next year, then they deserve to kind of give out Angry Machines as it's supposed to be, because it's
Oh,
you know,
that would be he would love
would be
that,
cool.
I'm sure. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't
like,
think they would
have
do
it our
something like
second
that. But
coming.
that would be cool.
Because I
If
love that
Dio was
album.
still alive, maybe he would be into something like that. I don't know if their
Mhm.
management today will be down with changing it, but why not? You know, why not
Yeah.
It
give
didn't
it?
sell
Well,
well. I remember that.
give-
I remember Angry
Give
Machines
Wendy
didn't
another
sell
reason to
quite-
reissue an album.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
And that'd be a damn good reason to throw in all
Yeah.
his solos. That would be fucking
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, that would make a lot of money, because I remember Angry Machines didn't sell well in '96.
Right.
So if they actually give it out, it's supposed to be, and give it kind of like a second coming.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's why, like,
Absolutely.
for me, in '96, I was still immersed in black metal and death metal and stuff.
Mm.
I wasn't paying attention to all these albums coming out, and I would get them eventually when I found them cheap or whatever, but I didn't give them even the many listens that I need to. But the cool thing about all that is that when I miss hearing Dio's voice, I I go to Lock Up the Wolves, Angry Machines, Strange Highways, Magica. Even I hated Magica when I heard it. Now I love it. It's like because I miss hearing new Dio songs, so they're the freshest
Yeah.
songs that I can listen to. So it's kind of weird how much I go back to like those albums now, just because they're not played out. Because I played all the classic albums I played forever, and so I like going back to these ones and rediscovering them, and they're fucking really good.
It was
Absolutely.
interesting what Tracy G said because I remember, for me, Dio was Tracy G. So when what's the album that came out in '98, or the album after him?
The
The
Magica,
first
The
one
Dragon
with
one.
Magica was the first one without him. That's when
yeah,
Craig
Magic.
Dahlman
Yeah.
came back.
Yeah.
So Ralph said he was disappointed about the album, but for me too, I remember back then because I was used to Tracy G's heavy sound, and then that album came out that sounded like you're trying to get back to Holy Diver sound, kind of like he
Well,
talked about,
to
because
me,
it
the
makes
big
more
problem
sense to
was
me.
all the talking, and this. He tried to make such a concept out of it. It just like when you put on a CD to fucking rock out to, you don't need someone speaking and telling a story. It made sense in a different way, maybe in like a graphic novel way, or maybe in a like long video or something like that. But for some reason on the CD, when it come to like the talking parts and stuff, it was just like it just didn't rock as much.
Yeah, because there
But I
was the
like it
album,
now.
and then you got the story at the end of the album. As I
Yeah, the
recall,
end.
that's supposed to be a trilogy. It's supposed to be a
Yeah, it was
trilogy.
supposed to be a trilogy, but then he rejoined with Sabbath, and then that all ended, and he never got to go back to it. But that was always his plan, was like he was going to make this long epic story, and he had it kind of planned out and everything. But when he came to rejoining Sabbath, that took up his years all the way up till the end, and he never got to return to it.
Any
Because
love for The Devil Cried?
What?
Any love for The Devil Cried?
Oh, what a great
Yeah.
song.
Great
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
And
Absolutely.
the new songs that were on the Dio years were really good too. The Dio years
Yes.
compilation,
Yeah.
Shadow of the Wind. God, man, that was a great one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even that goofy Ear in the Wall, the lyrics were a little goofy on that, but that's a fucking good song.
It was good.
Yeah.
Do you any of you
Mhm.
guys have that Star, or that single he did in '86? It just one song, something with Star.
Oh, Stars.
I have it.
Yeah, that
Stars
was
was so Stars was a Stars was the it was kind of like a We Are the World
Yep.
thing
Like
that
that
he put together,
85?
and he wrote the lyrics. I mean, Jimmy Bain and Vivian came up with the idea and the music, and then Ronnie wrote the music. They wrote the lyrics. And there is a version, there's a live, it shows up, there's a video of them live in Japan doing that song live with just Ronnie doing all the vocals. It's really cool to hear him do all the vocals on the song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, I have that on vinyl, and I have the original VHS, and Ovi bringing it up like 2 weeks ago to me, and I fucking totally forgot to pull them out. But I have the original vinyl of that and the VHS of that.
Yeah.
But I got a ton of
Man,
other crap to show if we got time.
Ralph, our friend Richard has the hearing aid vinyl, and he's been on a mission for years to get everybody that played on
Oh
it to
wow!
autograph it.
Holy shit!
And I mean, he's
Wow.
still missing. I mean, he's got like over half of it done. Though. I mean,
Wow, that's awesome.
It's been like a 40-year project, So,
Oh, what a cool thing to get that whole thing signed by all the legends like that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's badass.
Yeah, but there is a song in '86 that's just that song is an independent song. He gave out on a 12-inch or a 10-inch. It has kind of a blue sky on it. It's a single song. It's for something particular. I can't recall it. It's included in Dio Volume 2 or Dio Volume 1 kind of best of thing. It's kind of
It's
like
best of thing.
it's a kind
I don't
of
know.
rare song.
I've got a record somewhere in here. It's all my records in a different room. Just like rare tracks, and it may be featured on there. It has a commercial on it. He did a commercial for Budweiser,
Yeah.
like back in '83 or '4 or
Oh
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that.
Oh wow.
You know, and he
That
did
was
two,
like
he
played
did lead,
like you heard that commercial. It was like played
Ronnie
all the
did
time for a short
Ronnie
time.
did 2 songs on I've got it somewhere around here. Kerry Livgren's solo album. Kerry was the guitarist in Kansas.
Yep.
And he did an solo album, had Steve Walsh and some different people on it. And Ronnie sang lead on 2 songs. Veil of the Great Deceiver or Mask of the Great Deceiver is a really, really cool track. And Ronnie said he didn't realize when he was recording it was a Christian rock album. It's because that's Kerry had gone Christian or whatever. But it's a good record. It's very proggy, but Ronnie's 2 songs are good and worth seeking out for sure.
And Ronnie also played on that Roger Glover thing. Remember that? I forget. I don't have
Butterfly
that.
Ball.
Yeah, do you have
he
that?
did
Butterfly's Ball.
Love
Yeah.
Is All. Yeah, I have the album. Yeah, Love Is All was the song. Yeah.
And of
Yep.
course, the last thing he ever came out was like a Rod's thing. Or no,
Yep.
it was like his wasn't the Rod's though. It was like his solo thing.
It
The
was
guy from the Rods.
it's his cousin.
Heavy
Rock
Metal Will Never
from-
Die. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
They
he did the song on that Rod's album too. They did the one, but yeah, Metal Would Never Die. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like it was a Feinstein album though. It wasn't like
yeah,
a Rod's album.
Rock
Right.
Rock
that's right.
Feinstein.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
speaking
his
of
cousin.
Christians,
Yeah, man.
Oh, I
Christian
forgot
Christian
he
with a
was here.
K. Christian
Yeah.
what do
with
you
a
got,
K.
man?
So yeah, never met the man. I know people that met him and they said pretty much everything that we've been talking about here. He's just a, fantastic individual. I kind of discovered Dio, or at least his music, because, in like the mid 90s when I was discovering Ozzy and Black Sabbath, like I was, immediately Sabbath became one of my favorite bands. And then also looking at, used records. I was always trying to see if I could find a Black Sabbath record. And then the first one I ended up picking up wasn't one of the, the classic Ozzy ones, but it was this one right here that I got at Merle's Record Rack for $2.99.
Nice.
Back in 1995 or 6 or thereabouts. But,
Best
putting that
$30 you
on-
ever spent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And yeah, so putting it on, I'm like, oh, cool. I'll check this out. And hearing Sabbath with Dio, obviously these records have been, it wasn't nothing new out then, but it was new to me. So, yeah, it was like, it was different to hear it. I'm like, wow, this is, he doesn't sound like Ozzy at all, but this is different. Like, this is really good. And, over time, it's become one of probably my top 3 Sabbath record for sure. But yeah, so from there, then you kind of discovered his other material and whatnot. The first time I actually distinctly remember wanting to go when Dio touring around was 2003. He was touring with Iron Maiden and Motorhead,
Nice.
and they were doing a show. Yeah, they were doing a show in Hartford, Connecticut. I wasn't around then because I was doing my internship. I was out in California. And then I remember like, man, that sucks. I'm like, well, let me see. They're probably going to be touring or out here. Well, I'm out here, maybe, hopefully. So I went to look at the show. It's like, damn, by the time they're out here, I'm going to be back, back in Connecticut. So it was real shit. Never got to see the Dio band, Dio is Dio live. But when he did reunite with, Tony and Geezer and did the Heaven and Hell, I saw them pretty much every time they came through Connecticut. And actually when, actually just before I was looking up my phone, because I'm like, damn, I know I saw one of the not the very last show that he did, which was in New Jersey, but it was the third to last show. He was Wallingford, Connecticut at the Oakdale. And I remember like they ended the set like kind of early. Like I don't think they did the encore. And I remember like, they just like ended it and everyone's like, oh, but it wasn't, they still played most of the show, but I just thought like, man, that was kind of odd. And then you hear this, couple, a month or 2 later, they said he had stomach cancer. I'm like, oh, man, maybe he wasn't feeling good. So that kind of like, oh man, that really sucks. And then, when, few months later, he's gone, and it sucks. But what are you going to do? He's left just such a legacy, and just so much great music. And one of the things that just impressed me about him is just it's like his lyrics. It's the way he writes them. You like you're saying, like, he was a smart guy, a learned guy, but when you try to like figure out what a lot of his songs are about, it's kind of like it's not like obvious, but you read interviews with him, and he said he always tried to write it so you can kind of figure out on your own what it means to you. So
Right.
I just thought that was pretty cool. But and there's just a lot of things that come up again, like how many songs did he write about with rainbows, or there's like a rainbow going on, or like the spinning wheel. It's like there's so many songs where he says something about a spinning wheel. It's like, I don't think he was just like a lazy songwriter. I think he just kind of put those things in there like on purpose, just to kind of tie everything together, I guess. I don't know.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's what I got. So
I caught that Dio Motorhead and Iron Maiden show twice in 1 week. I caught it at like the PNC Art Center, and then I caught it at Madison Square Garden. It was like one of those shows, like I went and seen it. I thought I was only gonna go once, but I was like, oh my God, they're coming again 3 days later at the Garden. We gotta go again. And it was one of I don't do that often, but that was fucking a show to catch twice in a week,
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, I'm upset I didn't get to catch it at all. But yeah, I was so bummed because prior to that, I don't ever remember Dio ever coming around here. And when I heard he was doing that show with Iron Maiden and with Motorhead, it's like, oh, that's
That was a
fucking
great
killer.
package.
Great show.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, Christian. Christian, you made me think of the song "Hide the Rainbow" from '86. It's from the EP.
Really?
It's an unreleased song, "Hide the Rainbow" in
Oh,
'86.
Hide in the Rainbow. Yeah, that was on a movie soundtrack.
Oh,
Yeah. Was it it wasn't Vision Quest, that was Hunger Quest. I think it was Hide in the Rainbow was on Iron Eagle 2 soundtrack.
Okay.
Matter of fact, somewhere around here, I have a copy of the contract of how much he got paid to do that. Because some dude like, hey man, I found this somewhere, and it was a contract of what he did for that soundtrack to that album.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but
That's
that's
a
the
piece
song.
of memorabilia.
I think
Yeah.
it was on the best. It was on Diamonds, the Best of Dio, the Diamonds record that came out years ago. Here's that record I mentioned earlier. That's the Kerry Livgren album. And he he has Mask of the Great Deceiver, and he does Live for the King. I guess he didn't realize which king. I guess he thought he was singing about King Diamond. I don't know, but there's a picture inside of Kerry and Ronnie with the lady there. Pretty cool. Yeah, Rock Candy Records actually put this out on CD, so it's pretty easy to find. They do really good CD reissues.
but was "Hide the Rainbow" was that a specific studio session for that soundtrack, or was it a leftover from Secret Heart?
Not sure. It could have been left over. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think it's Vivian playing on it. I saw that contract somewhere.
I'm so happy Christian is back.
Yeah, I
Christian is
found
back.
it. It was it. I was looking through tour books tonight. I found, yeah, there's a contract for it. It's for Talent. Was it it was American Talent International Limited, and it's like yeah, it's talking about no, this is the wrong contract. No, this is a contract. This is a Black Sabbath contract, and they played the Omni in Atlanta. Yeah, that's something Richard gave me. But no, I've got that contract somewhere. It might be inside my Iron Eagle soundtrack, actually. Yeah.
There you go.
I got a contract. We sold our souls to rock and roll. I had to sign it, and that's
And did you sign it in blood?
To the devil? Yes, I did.
Yes, I hope so. I hope so. Yeah.
So I guess we got to go with me now. My first Dio album was Holy Diver. I remember getting that on cassette out of the cheap bin in Caldors. I must have been like 12 or 13. And I knew the song Rainbow in the Dark, and I saw the album cover, and I said, this has to be cool. Like, there's no way that this isn't cool with this cover. It's got to be awesome. Brought that home, and it blew my mind. I was hooked. From then on, man, I was hooked from then on with that fucking record. After that, sought out all the Black Sabbath stuff, everything he had out to that point, and was a huge fan. I got to see Heaven and Hell once at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. They played there on May 15th of 2007.
I was at that show.
You were at that, Christian?
No, I was there.
Okay. So the cool thing about that show was if you went to Mohegan Sun early and went to Spin Street Records, which was a little CD store in there, and if you bought the new Megadeth album, which was out that day, United Abominations, and the Sabbath with the Black Sabbath Dio Years CD, you got to meet Megadeth before the concert and get your CD signed. And then you got to meet Black Sabbath after the concert and get your CD signed. So that was fucking epic. Long story short, I think I've told it on here before. Dave Mustaine was an absolute fucking cunt. He was
Imagine that.
He was not pleasant at all, but then came out and played a phenomenal fucking show. It was like two different people. Black Sabbath were beyond incredible. And Dio just was so great and sounded as good as he ever did. And it took a while for them to come out and meet everybody, but we all got to meet them after the show. And I still got my little laminate from that.
Awesome.
And then with the date on it. And then they kind of scribbled on it. So, like, you couldn't get back on the line and come back to meet them again. And yeah, man, it was great that, you know, they were kind of pushing you along. There was a security guard there that was like, all right, people, hurry up, get your CD signed and get the fuck out. These guys are tired. They got to move on. So there's the Sabbath Dio Years autographed by all four guys. And I kind of got lucky because got to the table and met Vinny. He was great. And then Geezer was next and he was awesome. And it was a quick, you know, sign my thing. Hey, dude, great show tonight. Shook my hand. Awesome. And then I got fronting Tony Iommi, and the dude next to me was crying in front of Dio. So it was like I had about a minute and a half to stand in front of Tony Iommi and was like, dude, you are the fucking man, and you're the reason why I play guitar, and I fucking love you so much. And instead of being a fucking vagrant and a wild kid, I spent all my teenage years locked in my bedroom and fucking trying to learn your riffs by ear. And he was so cool, such a chill dude. And finally, they pulled the crying guy away from Dio, and I got in front of him. And he was really cool too, man. Shook my hand, fucking nice guy. Signed the CD, obviously. Great dude. So now, a couple of years later, the band puts out the album Devil You Know. And they played Madison Square Garden in New York City. And then had the free meet and greet at Sam Ash the night after. And it's very unfortunate hearing Count Ralphus's story, but I was one of the first people in line at that meet and greet. So I actually got in to meet all four guys.
And he brought 50 things to get signed and held up the whole line. That's why you didn't meet him, Kevin.
I did not, because
wait a second. This is because I don't remember it being back to back with the show. Like, I remember it being a thing on a promotion for the Radio City. I'm pretty sure it was either the DVD release or an album release for the DVD, but it wasn't like it wasn't like a show the night before. I don't remember the show.
This was they played MSG August 26, 2009. And then the day after, they were at Sam Ash for that free meet and greet.
So what was the show at MSG? Because I remember seeing them the very final time I ever seen Heaven and Hell was they played below MSG. They didn't play
Yeah,
MSG.
it was the
Old
They
theater
played,
underneath.
yeah,
There.
Right.
yeah, okay. I was at that with it was Coheed and Cambria. opening
Cambria.
up.
Yeah, I was there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So the
Okay.
day after,
Oh, I didn't realize that's probably how I knew about it. It was the day after, so I went down.
yeah,
I
the
didn't.
day after,
I never
they
thought
did
about
that
it
free
being
meet and
right
greet.
after the show. I didn't
Yeah,
ever thought
you know
it.
who was upstairs in Madison Square Garden that night?
Britney Spears.
Britney Spears. I was there.
Yeah. Oh, that was the best. It was like all the fucking Britney Spears fans and all the
Yeah.
old Black Sabbath fans all converging at the same exact time.
Yeah.
It was just like one woman with like 10 little girls. It was like every like group was that. It was like the
Yeah.
one mother had the 10 little girls to the fucking show.
Yep.
That was crazy.
That was funny.
So that meet and greet, me and my buddy Lou went down specifically for that. I didn't go to the show the night before. It's just he told me, dude, Sabbath is going to be at Sam Ash, and I know exactly where it is. Been there a million times. Let's go. So we went early and stood there for like probably 3-4 hours waiting for them to get there.
Yeah, the
And
line was like 3 blocks around. It went all the way around when we got there. It was
yeah,
fucking
yeah, there was a long ass line. So I think we were like, number 4 and 5 standing at the door waiting for them to get in. And Tony Iommi's daughter was screaming at everybody, hurry up. It's only one thing to get autographed, to get your signature and get the fuck out. She was like literally screaming at everybody. So it was even more rushed than the first time I met them. So meet Vinny, meet Geezer, meet Tony. Hey, fucking Tony, I love you. Quick handshake. All right, everybody, let's move. So then I get in front of Dio and put my Heaven and Hell CD cover up in front of him. And he has a black Sharpie in one hand and a silver Sharpie in the other hand. And he goes, black or silver? Black or silver? So I said, well, you're the man on the Silver Mountain. And he goes, I love that answer. And he signed my CD cover.
And that's why I did not get to meet them that night because you
That's why
fucking
you
held
didn't
them
get
up
to
with the
meet
goddamn different color markers. I can't believe I finally found out. What the fuck? Give me them autograph. You owe me them.
Tony's daughter made him quit an hour early, Ralph. That's what it was.
From what I had heard, I think Sam Ash put a thing out on MySpace, if I remember correctly, and said both Tony and Ronnie were not feeling well, and that's why everything got shut down.
Yeah, it was like an hour shut, and in that hour we would have met them because if they would have kept it going, but there was a lot of people online with guitars and all that shit,
Yeah.
bringing the whole discography.
I want to bring up something too. All these paid meet and greet things now. Ronnie was against that. Ronnie didn't like to do the paid meet and greet thing. He'd say in interviews, but they did on the Metal Masters tour with who was on that, Testament and Judas Priest.
Yeah, Judas Priest.
Yeah.
And
they did
Motorhead.
Motorhead. They did a paid meet and greet because everybody did on that, and each band. So he did take part in it, and I guess he just kind of went with the flow of it. But that wasn't his band to make the choosing. In Dio, he's just like, I'm not going to charge my fans to meet me.
Right.
Yeah.
Does any of you guys have the Does any of you guys have the Skull Warrior T-shirt from Dio?
I do not.
No.
What?
I got some shirts that I want to show off though. So can I go through
Skull
my
Warrior.
shirts right now?
Yeah.
These guys ready for some shirts?
Sure. Yeah, let's
the
show
Skull
your
Warrior
collection off.
is this one.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing that before.
Yeah, I remember seeing it too. So
What you got, Ralph?
Is a Heaven Hell 2007
That's
shirt.
badass.
Got the dates. This is one of the old ones. I've shown this before, but it's always worth showing. It's
Ah,
Mob
wow.
Rules tour, and it's fucking got the date, Madison Square Garden. So it's got shit on the arms. It's got I don't know if you can see them too good, but it's got designs on the arms and stuff. And
That's cool.
yeah, this is very vintage. Um, here's one from Heaven Hell tour, Heaven Hell album cover, but with you know their logo. Here's an old school one that just is
Yeah, I've got that
didn't
one.
yeah, a lot of
Nice.
people got that one from back in the day. This one's a really classic one. I've shown it before, but it's an event vintage 1983 Holy Diver tour shirt.
Wow.
Got the date on the
Nice.
back.
He always
That
has
is
the best
fucking cool.
toys.
This is the shirt that they sent me when Sam Ash when they fucking didn't let us
Mhm.
get him. So we signed a mailing list, and they ended up sending me a T-shirt, which was pretty cool.
Nice. That's
So
cool.
that's probably
Glad
actually
they
the
did.
rarest one because it's like only I think only the staff had them, so they had to print. So they just made a couple more for the people that couldn't meet them. But here's
I had,
here's
yeah, I had that.
That's cool.
this
I love
one's
that shirt,
cool
man.
because I got the same shirt when I seen Black Sabbath for the first time. I seen him on the Seven Star tour, and this was the front of the shirt. It had the Seven Star dates on the back. But I lost that shirt. But then I got this one, and it's actually a Mob Rules shirt. So
Nice.
following a couple of years later, they still used the same design for another shirt.
Yeah, the one I had didn't have anything on the back. Yeah. Yeah.
This is a Dio Last in Line shirt.
There you go.
that's a good one.
Is a Heaven Hell, probably a parking lot shirt from
There you
2009.
go.
I always got the parking lot shirts because I can't afford $50 shirts no more.
Sometimes they're
Here's
sometimes they're the
another-
That's a
best.
better shirt.
Yeah, this one was a parking lot shirt, and it was really
Yep.
awesome because
Yeah, a
this is
friend of
that
mine got
Metal
that one in the parking
Master.
lot.
This is the Metal
Metal
Master
Masters.
2008
Yeah.
tour with, yep, Judas Priest, Motorhead, and Testament, and it's got all the bands on the back, which is really cool.
Nice.
You know,
Nice.
and then here's an official one, Heaven and Hell, but they got the Live Evil with the Heaven and Hell logo, which is cool. But they took
Mhm.
like the old album cover and then they got the dates on the back. Another Heaven and Hell one. Got
Yeah, nice.
Dio, Peace, Butler, Naomi on the back. Another one where they did like the same thing with the Mob Rules. Got the Heaven Hell
Yeah, that's
logo.
badass.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
this is the Rules of Hell
2007.
shirt when they first came back.
That was the
Oh
box set.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that box set.
And I got that angel thing that's on the back of that shirt. I got that tattooed here. 'cause
Henry.
I
Yeah.
fucking love Dio and Sabbath.
Yeah.
I
His
wanna
name
get-
is
And then I got
Henry.
Yep.
I got this Heaven and Hell tour book. I seen Heaven and Hell, like I said, every time they came through. I got this
Mhm.
Dio book by Martin Popoff. I think it's out of print, but must have been right after he died because he wrote to Ralph, we lost a legend. Thanks for keeping Ronnie alive. Martin Popoff
That's very cool.
signed
Nice.
it. And then, of course, the Ronnie James Dio book, which is a shame because he was writing this book when he died.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it only goes up to a certain point, and it's so much is left out. But it was so detailed up to that point. It should have been like a 3-part series book. This is like some kind of crap. It's like a Dio
I always
scrapbook.
thought that Dio was British. I always thought he was from England because he's such a gentleman. I didn't think he was from New
Yeah.
Hampshire.
Yeah, he wasn't an asshole American, you know.
This is
Yeah.
early
He
Black
didn't act
Sabbath.
like an asshole. Yeah, dude, I remember that book, Ralph. I remember
Yeah,
seeing that in magazines. You know, I always loved
Yeah.
that stained glass
early Black
cover like
Sabbath
that.
book. Yeah, one of the first Black Sabbath books, and it's got Dio with stained glass on the cover. There's
Yeah, I remember.
another weird Dio book, and this is another one, a biography, heavy metal icon, another Dio book that I've read. And then I
Nice.
just finished this morning. It's the Rainbow book, all about
Oh yeah.
Ronnie. It's about all the eras of Rainbow, but it's a Martin Popoff book, and it's got the whole section about Dio era. Of course, I got this fucking cool rainbow candle from Rising.
Nice.
I got, of course, all the fucking. I got the double CD version of Rising.
The deluxe
I got,
version.
I got the original version of Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, Long Live Rock Roll. I got the 2 live albums that come out,
Live
and
and
then
mute.
I got
Martin
the
Pop-Up
live
should have been on
DVD
tonight.
Rainbow. I got this one signed by Vinny. It's Sacred Reich or Sacred Heart fucking live DVD. The
I
whole
just
set,
got that a couple days ago.
Holy Diver
Nice.
Live,
That Holy Diver Live is
Evil Lord
badass.
Divine, Evil Lord Divine, the Neon Knights, fucking one,
Yeah.
and bootleg of the Sabbath and Black and Blue tour.
Black and
Sabbath.
Blue. Yeah.
Got the old
There you go.
VHS of Dio on Last in Line tour, and I forgot to mention that was my first experience with Dio. Is that I went to see Dio on Last in Line tour at the Mid Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie, and fucking my dog loves that. And but it was supposed to be Twisted Sister opening, and Twisted Sister just came out with Stay Hungry, and that was the hottest shit at the time. And for some reason they canceled, and some band called Rest in Peace opened up, but it was like it didn't matter. Fucking Dio fucking fought that dragon with the fucking sword, and maybe it cemented how my love for Dio, and it was such an early show for me. I was like fucking 14 years old, and it was fucking amazing. His like the box set thing Dio, and I got the the fucking special edition versions of the CD,
Nice.
and this is the weird like thing of CD. I got Heaven and Hell, of course, the fucking all these ones. I'm not even gonna go through the CDs, but I got
Do
a
you,
stack.
any of you guys have Devil I Know Walmart edition, the Walmart special artwork with just the cross?
Oh yeah, I
No.
got the Walmart. Yeah, I got that stuff.
The
Get the-
Walmart one that I got for the devil no I'm thinking about the Dio years. The Dio years came with a DVD.
All right.
Oh no shit.
Or maybe it was Best Buy. Maybe I'm thinking
yeah,
about Best Buy.
Yeah, this one comes with DVD, right? Yeah. Be sure.
No, I never saw a Walmart one with cross on it.
Oh yeah,
maybe it was in Europe.
I got the Dream Evil picture disc.
That's cool.
I had a shirt with that on it.
Double Dose of Donington picture disc.
87, 80, 83.
Yeah, all those record store day picture discs came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
I
did
got
a
a few
bunch
of those.
But the artwork for Devil I Know.
Yeah,
is so
I got
good.
this one too. It's Rainbow in the Dark and Killing a Dragon.
Yeah,
Ovi,
that's
Ovi, did you ever see the Devil You Know artwork that someone altered and had the devil holding Sharon Osbourne's head? That is awesome.
Oh
I saw
wow,
it online
that should have been the real deal.
At the Lock Up the Wolves reprint, Finding the Sacred Heart, double live vinyl Dio doing the
Phil 86.
Lock Up the Wolves, man. I hit up Rowan Robertson to do this tonight, and he actually wrote me back. He politely declined, but he actually wrote me back. Him and Tracy G. I hit up so many ex-Dio members. Simon Wright, Scott Warren.
All you needed is one though. Just one per episode is perfect, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get him again next time.
Though you got Tracy G.
Yeah.
We'll go back next time and get some other ones. But I got that Z-trope fucking thing where you spin it the right way and you get the right lights.
One that don't work.
Murray comes alive and Murray comes alive and jerks you off. He comes alive and jerks you off if you do it the right way.
It
So
would
Somebody
be
really,
worth
offered
the
me some
money. It'd be
dude. Some
great.
dude offered me
now.
$60 for mine, and I sold it to him. So
There you
It goes
go.
from
Oh, you already got rid of it?
yeah.
I got this one signed by Vivian Campbell and Vinny Appice. I got the last
such a great
line.
artwork. Such great artwork. I've studied that artwork to death.
Is a record
Yes.
store,
yes.
store day picture disc of Holy Diver. I got this one Ronnie birthday show, Milwaukee broadcast 1994. The
Yeah, I got that on
gatefold,
CD.
That's a
Yeah.
live broadcast thing, I think.
Yeah. gatefold double vinyl. I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
Live
That's the
intermission.
EP.
Anybody
Intermission,
else
I
got
cannot-
intermission?
Uh-huh.
yeah, I got it on CD, but I got this one signed by Vinny and Vivian, my original, and then I got the
Something you Dio
the
need
other
to
one-
try to find
one-
is the promo for the EP 86.
I got this one Westwood one in concert Fresno at 1983.
Yep,
Yeah,
I
that's
got
a
that one
record
too.
store day thing.
Well, actually, that's the unofficial version. They actually re-released it during Record Store
Dream
Day.
Evil.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's the
my
unofficial
s-
version that came out years ago.
My Sacred Heart signed by Vinny and Vivian.
Nice.
It's
I
actually a
got,
good album. Sacred
Live in
Heart is
Fresno,
underrated.
1983. 1983,
Yeah.
live in Fresno.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the one that got reissued.
Yeah, that's the
I got the
record
We
store
Rock
day.
DVD from there, I think. We Rock DVD.
This is an early record store day. Goes back to like 2002 or so. Oh no, it doesn't go that far. But anyway, I got this one signed by Craig Goldie, Simon Wright, and Vinny.
Nice.
Oh no, Simon
Great.
Wright. No, Simon Wright, Craig Goldie, and Rudy Sarzo. That's what it was for this one. I forget which one, but yeah, it's picture disc, fucking limited edition. Thing.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Dio Summerfest live broadcast 1994.
Yeah, with the man, with Tracy G.
And then this one's a double one, Holy Diver live vinyl.
Nice.
Double disc.
That Holy
they-
Diver
they-
Live is so good.
Yeah, that's the second version. They changed the cover. The original one
Yeah.
had that DVD cover on
Do
it.
you
Yeah.
guys have that deluxe box of that Dreamer, that documentary about him, the Dreamer?
Talking about
Dreamers never
Never
die.
Believe it or
Yes,
not, I
there's
have
a
never
deluxe
purchased
edition.
that.
There's a
But
deluxe edition.
I
with
went.
stickers and stuff.
I saw it in the theater when it premiered, and I've seen it. If anybody that out there watching is still watching this tonight, if you haven't seen that documentary, it's on Tubi now. You can get it and watch it. Yeah.
Nice.
This
Yeah,
is a
I
cool
saw
one.
it in the movie
Evil or
theater, too.
Divine. Evil
Oh,
or
nice.
Divine. It opens like a triple gatefold.
Yeah, that's a nice
like-
one. Yep.
Yeah, looking really cool.
That's a tattoo right there for your back in the middle there.
Yeah. Then I got, Dehumanizer signed by Vinny, and yeah, only just Vinny on that. I got
Organizer.
the fucking
Bring out the works.
Mob
Mob
Rules. It's
Rules.
like the fucking remastered one. Here's my original signed by Vinny, and Heaven and Hell is like the 180 gram vinyl, and then I got like I got the original Live Evil.
Evil.
This one's a great one.
That's
Neon,
not easy to
Heaven and
find.
Hell.
So that's
Not on
expensive
vinyl.
as F.
I don't even have that one. I got it
Picture
on
disc,
CD.
picture disc for Heaven and Hell. My original Heaven and Hell got signed. And then I think this is like the 180 gram vinyl. I got like 5 different versions, and then I got another Mob Rules. But here going way back, I got the Elf picture disc.
Nice.
Oh wow, that's probably going for a good buck.
It's not that old. It's not as old as like when it came out. But I got the Rainbow original Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, and the picture disc. I mean, gatefold. It's
Yeah.
really cool. And then Rising, of course. Another gatefold.
Do you have that shaped
Rising.
picture disc for the EP?
No.
The
The
what?
No,
the shaped picture disc for the EP '86?
No, I don't have
It came
that.
out shaped one picture of the
Long live
band.
rock and roll. Long live rock and roll.
That's a cool artwork.
All of these are picture discs. I mean, all gatefolds. I mean, pretty cool how all three of
Yep.
the original ones are gatefolds. And yeah. So I showed you all the shirts. Oh, I didn't show these, but you know, the fucking Super Sevens, Ronnie James Dio with the horns up,
Rock Fantasy.
and Murray.
here.
Yeah,
Somebody's
both
been to
from
Rock
Rock
Fantasy.
Fantasy. Yeah, both from Rock Fantasy. Oh, um I got like some Elf CDs. I got this one,
Second album,
this on
first album.
CD. I got
All right.
That's cool,
You got this,
Christian.
Christian.
some
Christian,
Yeah,
cassette
that-
Mob Rules.
LA
Fucking
59
Heaven
is the same thing
Hells.
as Carolina County Ball. It's just two
Yeah.
different covers, titles.
Some rainbow cassette, the old Dio cassettes. I just lost the rainbow CD, but I got some more rainbow CDs. I got some live ones. And I got all the original Dio ones, special edition, rainbow, rising. Yeah. Oh, well, I got one other thing. There's a weird thing. Is my wife had this, and I was like, "See, what else do you got?" It's a scarf. It's like a heaven and hell
Killer.
scarf.
For the
Huh.
Lady
Awesome.
Evil.
Unless you're the guy
Nice.
from Fozzy or Glenn Hughes or something. I don't know. I don't wear it, but my wife
I have
wears
a I have a
wife
Dio
wears it.
scarf that from one of the
Oh,
tours, like an
nice.
old one.
84.
Oh, that's awesome.
And firstly, where is
Yeah,
your
so-
stuff? Where is your props, Eddie?
I've got records, but I wouldn't bother bringing them. I knew Ralph and Tony would have a hell of a lot more than I do.
I didn't even bring half my stuff or anything. I just brought a few things or whatever. I've got some pretty cool shirts. I've got some crew shirts that Richard gave me, like the the upstaging trucker lighting company or whatever that the truckers got for. It says upstaging on the front. The back says heaven and hell.
Oh, nice.
One's for it's two different tours that they did. It's on the back, and I've got a crew shirt that says heaven and hell crew. That's kind of cool to get. You know, I had a
And
Dio crew shirt one
soon
time.
we'll
I still
have a
got it.
Tony Dio's Metal Emporium episode where he'll just show off all the
Dio
stuff
stuff. Yeah, it'll
from
happen
Dio.
eventually.
So he's got to hold back a little bit because he's got a whole episode he's got to do on that.
James,
Yeah.
James, you were I broke off what you were saying. It went on a little longer than I thought. But yeah, you're middle of something. Sorry, James.
Wait, what happened?
You were about to talk about The Devil We Know.
Oh, what about it?
Yeah, you were telling your story about the live album, and then you were going to The Devil I Know.
I forget. I'm a stoner. I forget.
Okay. You were telling your story about live experiences, then you were going to The Devil I Know. You were
Yeah,
supposed to stop with that.
I finished that all up. I met them at the meet and greet that Ralph didn't get to meet him at, and that was kind of it.
Okay. I thought you
Yeah.
had more in your arsenal.
So Dio's three favorite albums from his career, he had said were Rainbow Rising, Black Sabbath Heaven and Hell, and Dio Holy Diver. What do you guys like
Good
from
question.
his career that
Good
aren't
question.
those three records?
Oh, that aren't those three. Holy shit.
Human.
Mob Rules, of
Dehumanizer. I
course.
like that answer.
Mob Rules ain't in there, so you got to throw that in.
Mob Rules is my favorite Sabbath album, period.
Most people go with
It's
that.
my
but
second favorite.
I always put Heaven and Hell a tiny bit over Mob Rules. I'm like one of those few people. I think everybody I know likes Mob Rules better, but
I like
I like Heaven and Hell. Heaven and Hell's for me.
I
The
like
thing about
long
Heaven
live
and
rock and
Hell,
roll.
the
Long
thing
live
about
rock and
Heaven and
roll.
Hell is the sound. There's a vibe on the Heaven and Hell album. It's a certain vibe. There's a certain warm sound that's
Well,
missing on Mob Rules.
No, I think it's the opposite what people say though. People say the sound is fuller on Mob Rules and it's a little stiff and not so much on Heaven and Hell. To me, it's the songwriting that makes it a little better.
Okay.
But I've always heard it the opposite, where people like the sound better on Mob Rules.
Heaven and Hell has a production that is divine. Mob Rules is kind of more rough.
Huh.
What do you say,
That's what
Ed?
I think.
I kind of agree. Mob Rules definitely has a heavier, fuller sound, but Heaven and Hell has just a more epic sound, and just it has more enticing, and just it's more feeling behind it. Mob Rules is
And
just
you hear like the bass just goes on Heaven and Hell. That's such a perfect bass sound. You just move to that bass line. It just takes you on.
Yeah, I hate to kill you there, Ovi, but that's not Geezer.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, yeah.
Not
He's
Geezer.
on some of it. He's on some of it, but it's
But
not
not on
all
the
him.
Heaven and Hell. That's somebody else.
And Bill Ward
Yeah.
doesn't even remember playing on Heaven and Hell, but it's like it's something about it. His playing over Vinny said it. He's just one of my all-time favorite drummers.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Robert. Some people say it's Jeff Nichols, and some people say it was Craig
I
Gruber.
remember the name. That's who I heard. Yeah,
Craig Gruber claims he played on it too. So
I know Craig's brother, so I don't know.
Oh wow.
They leaked that demo from '79 with that keyboard player last year from Heaven and Hell demo.
yeah, his son
perhaps
after Jeff passed away, his son released that demo of Heaven and Hell with his dad
Does
playing on it.
that have Geezer on the bass?
No, that was Jeff.
That was Jeff.
All right.
Yeah, because Jeff was a bass player in a band called Corpse before he was even the keyboardist in Sabbath.
That's right.
That's a cool name, Corpse.
Yeah, Tony Iommi produced the first Corpse album.
Oh,
yeah.
Christian, what do you say? Pick a favorite Dio album that isn't Heaven and Hell, Rainbow Rising, or Dio Holy Diver.
Yeah, those are probably like my top three right there. To be
That's so hard, man.
If we're talking ones that aren't those, there's a lot of. I mean, we had the man on here tonight, Tracy G, on Strange Highways. That's got to be up there. I love that album.
No doubt.
It's so great. It's so great. Oh
yeah, just the past couple of days I listened to it a couple times through. Another one that I really like, and some people don't like this one, some people love it, is Dream Evil.
Yeah.
I like
I'm on that
Faces
side.
in the
I
Window.
don't care much for that album because
Faces in the Window, a great
Deep
song.
Purple,
Good
Deep
fucking
Purple,
song, Tony
vibe too.
Dio.
yeah,
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
on that album. If you're a musician, like the timing, as the structure is like weird on Dream Evil.
It is, yeah. It is. It's almost a little proggy sometimes.
Yeah, it's totally like anti-Dio-ish, you know. It's
Right.
a good album. I don't dislike it. Timing is like all screwy.
This is maybe a bad thing to say, but I talked about it last time we were talking about the album. For me, Dream Evil sounds like they heard Deep Purple, got back in '84, and it's kind of like it's going towards that sound.
It is a very deep
Dio.
Purple. Yeah. Craig Goldie had a
It
Blackmore
doesn't sound much
tone
Dio.
about him.
That album is kind of. I like the artwork for the album.
Yeah.
Listen to the song
Does
Overlove.
Lady
Total
Lady
Blackmore.
Evil? Does Lady Evil do any of the Heaven and Hell stuff from the Heaven and Hell
Sure.
album?
Do Children of the Sea. We do I.
No, I mean the
Devil
Heaven
You
and
Know,
Hell.
period.
Yeah, Devil You Know.
Devil
No. Not yet.
Bible Black would be a good one.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We were talking about The Devil Cried at one point.
That's
We've got
fantastic
one
song.
around here in Carolina, a Dio era Sabbath band, and they do some of the stuff from there. Like I said, they're doing Bible Black and stuff in their set.
Yeah, it's good stuff. In our case, we're up to like 2.5 hours worth of Ozzy Dio Sabbath, so it's like, wow.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a lot to do.
Yeah, it's a lot of fucking tunes to juggle.
It's not just juggle. It's like, at what point do you? The biggest problem we have at this juncture is, what do we take out?
Yeah.
What
are you not going to play?
Yes. Usually you take out I don't know. Yes. We take. We have a couple staples we don't ever take out, and the rest of them are all just literally like this.
Yeah.
I guess you got to go by like anniversaries. Maybe something is like that month is the anniversary, so you keep them in, and then maybe get rid of other things.
Yeah, and we try to like gauge the crowd a little bit to see like who, like what would fit this genre. And you know, and Jaymz will tell you, it's like you always fall short on that shit when you're trying to judge a crowd, you know,
Mhm.
ahead of time before you even meet them. We go like, I think they're like Over the Mountain. You get there, it's like that was a mistake, you know.
Yep.
The Dio crowd,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of difficult, you know. You can just poke and hope, and you know, you can't go wrong. I mean, whatever Dio song you throw in there, you really can't. You know, it is what it is. It's people love it, and we love it. That's why we do it.
And what gigs you got coming up again?
We got Moriarty's in Yonkers, and
Trouble Sam.
yeah, and we got the Clemson Brothers coming up in I think July, and we're back down at Dingbats I think in November, and there's other assorted gigs, some big bar on the island. We're averaging like a couple a month.
Nice.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Good. Stay
Go
busy.
see
Anybody have
Lady
the,
Evil live.
White book.
Great.
What's that?
Does anybody have the Frank White book?
Yeah.
Frank White was he's a pretty
Yeah.
a pretty affluent photographer. Started when he was a teenager. He used to sneak his camera.
Oh
into-
shit! I forgot to pull that out. I forgot to pull that out because it's such a
Yeah, I
big
have
book.
it.
It wasn't in my other Dio books, but I got that fucking book. I bought it right from
Yeah,
him.
yeah. I got one for him. He signed it for me. Frank, not Dio.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Anybody with the Dio way?
No,
in,
never been.
Never been.
I've got my picture taken.
I've got a replica of the sign.
Yeah, I went there and got my picture taken underneath it like this. Had to get it done before somebody stole the sign. It's right outside Dio's house where he grew up with.
Where he grew up.
Yeah, we opened for the Rods one time too, not a few years back.
That's very
Nice.
cool.
Yeah,
They do days in Cortland. It's called Dio Days or whatever. It's
yeah.
like one weekend or whatever. And the
Yeah.
Rods usually play.
The funny part about Dio Way is my girlfriend grew up in Syracuse, so we go from here up to Syracuse, you know, often, and we always stopped at this Dunkin' Donuts on the way up because her and I are both ice mocha coffee freaks, so we'll stop in and grab an ice mocha coffee. And that goddamn sign is literally like if we didn't know it, you could spit off the back Dunkin' Donuts and hit that freaking sign, you know. And we buy like 20 times, and then we finally like map quested and found out I was like, it's right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we felt stupid.
I gotta go a little on converge on because of I know what albums are better, but I think Strange Highways is gonna be my number one because it's my first, and Mob Rules number two, and number three. Because it's my time of my life, I think I'm gonna have to do Angry Machines as my number three because I know Last in Line is better album, but still, it's my time in my life. It's what I connect with
Yes.
Dio. It's Tracy G. So
It's understandable.
No doubt.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, anybody else got anything else to add other than rest in peace, Ronnie James Dio? I can't believe it's going to be 15 years.
15 years. Rest in peace, Ronnie.
Jesus.
Shit.
but remember, every time you see a rainbow, he is up there.
That's right.
Right.
Dude, I always
that all
think
the
that.
time.
Especially
too.
if it's in the dark.
Yeah.
That's
If
right.
you see it in the dark, you know it's Ronnie.
That's
Choking
right.
a leprechaun to death with the fucking horns in his fucking head.
Did you guys hear the funny story about his bizarre gardening accident where he almost lost his thumb? Yeah, or
Yeah, that's in the movie.
where the gnome, the garden gnome, I think that was the garden gnome, was like, okay, I'm gonna get you. You had a record called Elf. You had a band called Elf. I'm gonna get back at you.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that it wasn't like his pinky or something. Didn't it? Would have had to change the metal. The metal.
Yeah,
the
he
metal
didn't
horns would have
need a
been
thumb.
this.
He didn't really need a thumb for this. Like Gene
Yeah,
Simmons needs a thumb for that. Not
Yeah.
Dio.
yeah. Rest in peace, Ronnie. Man, God,
Yeah.
it's been
Love
fun,
Ronnie.
guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's been fun. Count Ralphus, thank you for helping me to get this together. Thanks to our special guest, Tracy G. And thank you, Ovi. Thank you, Tony Dio. Thank you, Ed Farshti. Thank you, Robert Tuttle. Thank you, Christian, for joining us. and hanging
Lady
out.
Evil. Lady Evil.
Yeah,
Lady
the
Evil,
drummer,
go see
Bill-
Lady Evil
drummer
live.
too.
Go see Lady Evil live, and thank you, yeah, to your drummer Billy
Yep.
for chilling with us too. This was a great episode. Leave comments, like, and subscribe, and
Tell stories.
bust out
Tell
your Dio
stories.
records.
Listen
Tell
to
stories in the
Dio
comments.
and Black Sabbath,
That's right.
Rainbow, and
Every
Elf.
fucking day. Have a good night, folks.
Good night, guys.
Elf.
I don't know.
See ya.